Hey, what's up, Metalicious B? How's it going? What's up, Andrew Seller, Eddie Money? Hey, what's up, Preet? How's it going? What's up? Love your content. Keep it real. 100 as always. Let me know if the music's too loud, guys, or if you want me to turn it up. So turn it up. I just want to talk to you guys, really. Having a hard time. Thanks, Taria. I love you too. Safemoon to 0. Anyone else think we will go lower? Jeez. It's always been going lower. Yeah, it's been going lower the entire time. No, don't say buy the dip, Jason. Don't say that, bro. Thank you, babe. Are you buying this dip? Your thoughts on the market bloodshed? I don't know what to think. What do you guys think about the market? You think it's going to crash? I mean, everybody thinks the market's going to crash right now. Food prices. Everybody just expects doom and gloom. The housing market, everything. Going super low all the way down. John sold us out. Okay. So I'm going to talk to you guys for a bit. We're going to look at some stuff, and then I'll do a live discussion. You guys will be able to join as usual, and I'll post a link in the chat. Lower. I think it's going lower. They always say to do the opposite of what everybody feels, so it's like, part of me thinks about that. It's like, oh, maybe it's going to do the opposite what we expect. You know what I mean? Hey, what's up, Safemoon Dog? What's up, Chris? How's it going? Luna, yeah. I mean, there's crazy stuff is happening. Coffee just put out a video on Luna. I'll probably watch after this. I don't want to stay live on the Twitter Spaces too long. I'm really thinking 2-3 hours at the most. Okay. I found what I wanted. Let me know if the music's too loud, guys. Or does the music feel pretty balanced? What's up, folks? What's up, CT? Hoping for 20K Bitcoin. Market crashing, dollar cost average all the way down. Yeah, I don't really like doing that, but a lot of people like doing the dollar cost average. It will crash, but this is when banks and big companies will start buying the dips. Definitely going to go lower, sideways dip, in my opinion. Another day in this crazy market, right? That's right, 8 reasons. Mark Hamilton, what's up, man? Dude, yes, wish I would have bought Luna at 85 because that would have been a nice swing trade. Feels good, just a hair. Music is great. It's perfect. Awesome. Okay, cool. Whoa, a big sell-off just happened. I just checked Safemoon's price, and it was up at the 4. It's already down in the 3. This is why I tell people, you know, it's not financial advice, but if it continues to go down, you save money by waiting and buying, right? So people could have saved a lot of money and been a lot less exit liquidity for whales. You buy these dips, whales just keep selling. But it's your money to decide how you want to do it. I personally, if I become convinced that Safemoon's going to blow up again, I'll have a really good entry point because I haven't been spending a lot of money. Damn, this is crazy. There's so many people that are willing to buy dips. So music sounds great, not too loud. Your voice is over. It's easy to hear you. Awesome, awesome. Feeling like a bear. Keep going down. Hey, what's up, Unlucky Mofo? Okay, let's go ahead and talk about what we're going to talk about. So I put this out to my YouTube, and I just want to say that I knew about this, but I couldn't say it. But I wanted to. Which is that a law firm repping John Caroni plus Safemoon sent me, this is from CoffeeZilla, sent me a letter this morning asking me to not reveal the location of John's multi-million-dollar house. I want to be clear, I would never release info like that. He said, doxing private home addresses is not journalism. It's dangerous, and I want no part of it. The only fact I ever cared about with Caroni was the value of the home, since it begs the question, where did this money come from? Safemoon holders deserve to know where their money is going. They're down 95%, while their fearless leader went from a trailer to a multi-million-dollar house in a year. He says this is not okay. This is CoffeeZilla's opinion. Obviously, it's not mine. Me and Coffee differ on how we view Safemoon. Despite this, let me be clear, anyone who finds Caroni's house should not share it. I have told this to other people who've approached me with this info already, and I will continue to tell people this. 2 wrongs don't make a right. So, I knew that John had multi-million-dollar house. You don't want to give the number away. You don't want to dox John. So this space is for, it's not for people that believe in Safemoon that don't want to hear anything negative. Like, if you believe in Safemoon, I'm not trying to crap on your dreams. I don't know what the future holds. It might moon one day, you know? This is really for people that want to discuss this information. So if you feel like this is going to scare you or cause you to get fearful and you don't want to hear it, then you don't have to, follow me or subscribe to me or listen to me. And I don't hate you. I'm not mad at you. It's your decision, and we're gambling, so who knows in the end is how I feel. But this information is for people who want to know and people who maybe they just find it interesting. But some people might want to know the full picture for their investment of what's going on. So this is not to convince people who believe in Safemoon to not believe in Safemoon. This is just for the people who, like myself, are not afraid to look at information that paints their investment in a negative light. All right, I'll probably have to re-say that a couple times, unfortunately. We need sad music in these red times. This music's a little sad, right? Could we have the music off? A couple people like it. If I get a bunch of complaints on the music, I'll turn it off. Evergrow coin's going down hard as well, 100%. It's not fun to be an investor right now, right? Unless you just got in something big. Not a fun time. And my biggest bag is an Evergrow, so it doesn't feel good, but I still have hope. I'm still waiting on people to deliver. So here's the question I have that I wanted to start with you guys. Music down just a hair. Yeah, I got you. Other people liked it. I turned it down just a hair for you. So Hillary Duff poses for women's health body issue. Okay. They're just like forcing nudity on us. Okay. Anyways. Look, I want to read chat for a second. How many of you guys are okay if John, it's such a weird picture. Let me paint this picture real quickly. When teams list on exchanges, it's not uncommon for them to use part of that tax to pay themselves, right? So it's this gray area. The problem, in my perspective, with Safemoon is it said that it was going to be put in the LP. So it was going to be sent to the developers to then be put into the LP. And it's this weird gray area of like, okay, that's not too uncommon, but you guys said it was for this, and then you used it for this, and then you told us that you would let us know when you used it. And then it kind of comes down to, is that okay? And what if they spent millions on themselves? What if they spent 5-10 million on themselves, personal use, while the price is plummeting, while we're buying dips? And while unfortunately products aren't launching when they're supposed to. And the only reason I say that's important is because I completely understand running into problems in development phases, especially with blockchain and stuff. But the problem is that people buy because of that. Like, I bought because the blockchain and the exchange. So we see this picture where we basically see a ton of money that could have went to our LP. It could have went to buy back and burn. It could have went to the investors. going towards the team for development of what they're working on for HQ, for billboards, and you know, probably towards their salaries. And it's just kind of like, is that okay? Is that wrong? I just kind of want to hear your guys' thoughts. Is it okay for them to spend what they said would be for development on themselves in the millions? Because I'm really trying to figure out what's morally right here. Like what exactly is he paying himself? How many times has he increased that pay? Do you really believe CoffeeZilla's tweet? You also have to remember that John had a business before Safemoon that had contracts with the government. So do you know that money? Yeah. So John was not rich before Safemoon. John, Thomas, and Kyle worked at Tano. John was not rich. He did live in a trailer. It was a nice trailer, but he lived in a trailer. Or a van or something. A van down by the river. All I care about is if they are giving 100% to the project and give it their heart and soul to make sure it succeeds. Yeah. So it's kind of like, are you giving 100% to your project when you're paying yourself in millions of dollars that could have been used for buyback and burn, would be my question. If anything, split the tax half to the devs, half to LP, just be transparent. Yeah, I agree. All they had to say was like, this is for development. Don't say for the LP and then use it for development. Why would they do that? Isn't that weird? Why not just say development cost? 5% to development is because they don't want us to think that. And if they don't want us to think that, why not? Then maybe there's something to hide there. You know what I mean? Maybe they can't tell an exchange or a large group of people that 5% of all their volume is going towards development costs, which could be salaries and it could be houses that people are spending on themselves. When you start a business, leaders eat last. That's interesting, Lawrence. If none of it comes out, then we were duped. His house is not a multi-million-dollar house. Not one person can prove it. Jacob, go do the work, man. Okay, so people that are saying that, Jacob Burgers, please answer how you know it's not a multi-million-dollar house. Can you answer that? And then I'll tell you my response. Why anyone would publicly steal money in a country that is so consumed with litigation? It's beyond me. I'm sure he paid himself the same way all American CEOs pay themselves, excessively. It's this weird picture. It's very hard for me personally to come to like, absolutely that's wrong or absolutely that is right. Hey, what's up, Mitch Bromwell? Thank you for the $2, man. You're awesome. I really appreciate that. Great mod. Always positive. Even if he doesn't agree with me, he's still super respectful and a great mod. Just because someone who lived in a trailer doesn't mean he didn't have money. Speculation. No, I meant his friend said he was not rich. That's not speculation, unless you want to say that every source besides John is a liar, which people do that. And you're welcome to that at Perspective. But I tend to lean that his friends that worked with him at Tano before this happened are not lying about that. And his family. Why is Evergrow dropping so much in price? Everything's dropping right now. I don't know if there's an extra reason to why Evergrow is dropping. People are scared. People think the market's going to. I bet every person and every project is scared that the market is going to keep going down. So that's why they are liquidating their positions. They're moving it over to stable coins that hopefully don't tank. So that when it comes back, they can get back in. Real leader guides his team to victory. A normal payment is okay, but not a payment when the company is getting 90% down. A reasonable leader, owner, fight. Exactly. Like, that's a good spec. Let's speculate on that. To me, like, bleeding Safemoon would be, we've got 5 million. What's the best way to use this for the community? And how could that not be buyback and burn? Like, imagine buyback and burn at our low prices, guys. $1 million buyback and burn. It's a huge burn. It's huge price action upward. And if we know that they're going to keep doing it, it gives whales a reason to stop selling. I mean, they could have done good with that. That's just my perspective, and I'm open to an opposing perspective. How does Coffee know it is? Yeah, that's the question. Check his 2021 tax return. No way he didn't claim it on his taxes, as he runs a public business. Just follow the money, folks. No need to speculate. Nah, it's not right when you're building a company. It takes about 3 years to turn a profit. So as a CEO, you should sacrifice for the betterment for a company. That's what will happen with mine, buddy. Okay. I think he's a good person, but he took advantage of his position and holders. They are delivering, delayed maybe, but they are actually delivering. They haven't really delivered anything. A wallet. The thumbnail, what we're talking about is how much money is it okay for a team to take from a text that says that it was meant for the LP but might be used for development. That's ultimately the question that I want to ask you guys, because I can't seem to find a real solid standard of understanding that question. Like my opinion, which I'm not 100% on, is yeah, like we're buying dips, projects aren't coming out, and your goal should not be to make yourself rich while everybody that supports you is suffering. That's not true leadership, and that, in my perspective, that's not bleeding Safemoon. This is just my opinion, guys. If he was, and this is just my opinion, like you guys are talking about, a true leader, truly for Safemoon, the community, then he would be buying and burning tokens. He would be putting that money into liquidity to help the price. He would be giving back. I mean, we had a birthday month and they couldn't give us a dime. We got DigiFinex listing. We got a hint at an exchange. They could have easily done $1 million buyback and burn, and everybody would have lost their minds. Why do they not give us the freaking money that was supposed to be ours? The LP money, guys, is our money, technically. So there's a couple questions. It's like, why not just say development cost? Why say given to the developers to be put in the LP, and then they say, we might use that for development, but we'll let you know. They don't let us know, and they spend millions of dollars. Why do it that way? Why not just say development costs? It's a scam, lost already 9%, now going to lose 90% again. It's a pure scam. If they say something, they have to support it with action. When they don't do it, all the negative and rumors start. Sorry to say, Sam deleted people on Twitter for a question he don't like. Wrong. We have to deal with a lot of BS, so it's hard to know. Sam's a pretty stand-up guy, actually. I don't believe that comment. He literally goes out and answers everybody's questions. I've had friends in the past say things that are not true, still speculation and hearsay. What is a valid source, if not word of mouth or by a friend? Just because a friend said something doesn't. Yeah, you're welcome to your own beliefs, man. The problem is that, okay, so the problem here is that people have a lot of habits to think the best of John and the team and to think the worst of anybody else. So they're willing to immediately think, no, what John did was good and what John did was right. Anytime a new piece of information comes to them, whatever it may be, John's good. This is amazing for Safemoon and it's going to be huge. That's the trail of thoughts that happens. Anybody that opposes it, even if they do it respectfully, hey, what did they spend their money on? Oh, you're just fudding. John, don't question John. Why are you doing this? And then they change their standard and they flip on you and they start going, oh, you're doing this for selfish gain. You're doing this because you're starting a new crypto. You're doing this to get views. You're doing this because they start wildly speculating negative things about you, which they would never do to John. And it's because they want to be rich and they have a vision and dream of Safemoon mooning one day. Pretty simple, right? But the problem comes is that they cannot perceive information in a fair, balanced standard, which causes them to not see it correctly, which causes them to attack people who do see it correctly, unfortunately. So basically, when people make wild, hateful accusations towards anybody that's questioning their dreams of being rich, they love just jumping on it and assuming it and believing it and trolling and laughing. But when John's questioned, there is zero speculation. There is no maybe he might have, nothing. That's why I said that this stream is not really for the people who want to believe in Safemoon. I'm not trying to convince you to not believe. The stream is for the people who just are like me, want to talk about everything. If you're somebody who wants to believe in Safemoon and not hear anything negative, that's okay. That's fine. I don't hate you. I don't judge you, but you don't want to be here because we're not doing that here. Lawrence Oleman said, I should have put my money somewhere else. Literally everyone who says John is soulless jerk. Why are we defending him? I was just listening to what you said. A true leader will not be taking money while others suffer. It honestly sounds like every company like that is a major argument against CEO. A lot of have you guys not heard of the CEOs that, like, you're making a great point, Craig, but a lot of CEOs will, like, give up their entire pay to buy everybody a car or to make their pay better. Not every CEO is that way, but that's a good point, though. I would assume that Mandala would look into this matter and not list Safemoon, but they listed Safemoon. They make money off of listing Safemoon. People, like, get into all these listings and they say, why would they work with them? Why would they do this? Because they're getting paid, because they're gaining money. That's why they're doing it. The Emperor's New Clothes mindset. Can you explain that to me, Random Arts? I think that went over my head, bro. Sorry, mate. He deleted my account for a simple question, but okay if you don't believe that. Yeah, man. What was your question, Jensen? Ask me, and I'll let you know. Yeah, don't buy Safemoon if you can't afford to lose your money for a while or even the long run. Like any Kickstarter, you could get kicked in the nuts. Yeah, it's a risk. You don't know what's going to happen. Sorry, guys. Like it's something that was said a lot by Walmart and MCD workers about the CEO and so on. How the worker gets no pay change, but the heads get massive payouts. So that is what society rewards, sadly. Well, it doesn't have to be that way. To me, it actually is bad for it to be that way. We need to reward those who work hard. And a lot of the times, that's not the CEO. Since your question, what is your main objective? I think you're coming from an honest place. Guess I'd just like to hear what you hope to gain. I don't really know, Ken. I don't know what my goal is. That's why I'm having this, because I'm trying to come to my own conclusion on how I feel about them spending millions of dollars on themselves. And by them, I mean probably John. And we know Thomas and Kyle did. I don't really quite know about Hank or Jack, but I think that they also, I know at least Jack got a decent amount of money. The LP was our money, not anymore. I see both sides, but I'm still buying however low it goes. Well, that's the thing is like, even if you hate this, it doesn't mean that it might not make money one day if they create something. You know what I mean? So even if you disagree with everything they're doing, if you think it's going to make money, it's like buying a terrible project at the start and you're just trying to make money off that pump. Tons of people do that. That's why every project gets just sold off right at launch, right? Is they don't believe in the project, they're just trying to make a profit. So you don't have to necessarily believe morally in a project to make money off of it. And that's an important stance to make with Safemoon when we talk about its future. I don't know the future of Safemoon. The lawsuits are concerning. If they settle in court for the lawsuits, they're going to be paying millions. That's probably going to be coming from what was meant for the LP for development. LP or development. But will that end Safemoon? I don't think so. But I'm really, I guess my goal for me, somebody asked, what is my goal? My goal is to decide if I can cover this or not anymore.
Starting an online store is...
Dun, dun, dun. Chris Harris blocked me, and he probably is still hating. I'm gonna restart some of these songs. Agree, buddy. I believe in Safemoon, but I like to listen to all sides, good or bad. Yeah. This space is just for people who want to talk about this stuff. If you want to believe in Safemoon and you like the positivity and you don't really like hearing negative stuff, that's fine. Like I'm totally cool with you. That's not what I do. So this just space isn't for you, and I'm not gonna try to control you. And as long as you don't try to control me, we're cool. But me and other people do want to talk about this stuff. Let me read comments a little longer, and I'll probably do a short space. Anybody can come up, and we'll have a conversation on Twitter about it. John did get his one Lambo. Thanks for burping in my ear, Classy. I apologize, Amateur. Yeah, they make money, but what else is important? Reputation. Does Mandala really want to be involved in something that turns out bad if these speculations have any truth? I wouldn't if it was my sex. They might not... That's what it's speculation. Oh, who would get involved with Safemoon because there's risk to it? It's a good point, but it's not. They're getting money for it, is why. It's not going to hurt their reputation enough. Oh, you listed Safemoon. We're never going back to your exchange. I don't see that having any kind of like the smallest effect on them if it even did. I'm going to hodl until the end. I put a ton of money in, but nothing I couldn't afford to lose. Lower price, higher burn, long haul. I just don't know what to believe anymore. I'm kind of there too. So let me just say this. There's so much going on behind the scenes that we're all missing so much information. But John, Thomas, and Kyle were part of Tano, which was like, I think a gaming company. And John also tried to do other companies before that, but they didn't really work out. So John Thomas and Kyle were founders of Atano, but Thomas says that John was his boss. Kyle copied the B token. He did it intentionally as a rug pull. Thomas admits that B token was a rug pull, but the difference between B token and Safemoon, he said this live on an AMA, you can go find this. He says it was a rug pull, B token was, but the difference between that and Safemoon is that we're not going to rug you, meaning they're not going to take from the LP. They stated that they would be taking from the LP for development costs, and they talked about that live. They also got bags that they were using to sell, but it wasn't enough to develop what they were wanting to do, which is why the community came together and donated $1 million for the exchange. During that time, Kyle apparently took 50-something or more trillion tokens out of the LP. He paid Thomas $2 million in Safemoon out of that. Thomas said he didn't have Safemoon until he got paid. He said he stopped saying that he was being paid or that he didn't hold Safemoon. He did say he was gifted Safemoon after that. I imagine he was referring to what Kyle gave him. Kyle and John had a falling out of some sorts. They were like the co-owners or CEOs of Safemoon if you go watch the early AMAs. They had a falling out. Thomas says that John kicked Kyle out of the Discord and out of everything, and that's when Kyle gave up on Safemoon. Thomas and Kyle seem very close. Obviously, Kyle gave him $2 million. There started to be resentment built up between Thomas and Hank and John. They didn't like the direction that he was taking Safemoon. He was taking it centralized. It was John's idea to bring in the Gambia, which is probably through his connections with the Barajali Group, which is owned by his mom and his family's a part of, as far as helping development in the Gambia. So much of the ideas that John had for Safemoon was through his connections, through his family, and through that was through the government. He was able to meet with the Gambian officials. It was talked about using it as a currency. It was talked about using wind turbines. And it was talked about connecting the blockchain to those wind turbines, and every turn's a burn. It appears that Gambian connection has been clearly severed, cut off, from John going down there on the birthday month. Nothing came out of it. He was down there for our birthday. Nothing happened. Barajali Group put out a statement distancing themselves from Safemoon. They said other companies were not affiliated, but we know that which one they're talking about. Charles quit Safemoon, saying he was going to school, then immediately joined the Barajali Group. John's uncle, I guess, either quit or got fired, I'm not sure, from Safemoon, because he was there with HQ, with Charles, with John and the team working with them, is posting stuff about Project Phoenix, Operation Phoenix dying. So what John had envisioned and been aiming towards as a part of development for Safemoon's future has been affected through this, what seems to be a loss of the deal that they had between Barajali Group and possibly with the Gambian government, which is why in John's captain log, he put out that he was going to open up his, expand to other places, try to paint it as a good thing, even though it's basically like we lost what we had. Before all this, Ben Phillips was on the team. He was a huge famous YouTuber in the UK, which is where John went to stay for a while. Ben Phillips pumped and dumped Safemoon on the major level. He was the marketing guy who did AMAs with Safemoon. People believe that John cleaned house and got rid of them, got rid of Thomas and Kyle and Ben Phillips and Jack, and that they were all the bad actors and that John was the good guy the entire time and had our best interest at heart. They made the deal with Bitmart. They made that deal for a very long time, and then finally it happened. And we all, basically how it happened was just a very weird way, where basically the 5% that was meant to go from Bitmart to the PancakeSwap LP ended up in their accounts. Basically, what they did was when we migrated from V1 PancakeSwap to V2 PancakeSwap, they were migrating liquidity. Thomas would be posting about it in the Discord, and he would be saying, like, everybody gets so hype. I was getting hype. Like, hell yeah, I loved hanging out in Papa Discord, and prices going up, and it was amazing. What they were doing was they were taking liquidity out of V1 only selling the BNB to the V2 liquidity pool, and then taking that Safemoon and selling it to Bitmart for an over-the-counter trade for Safemoon, so that Bitmart could do its monthly Safemoon reflections to its holders. So Bitmart had a 10% fee, but it just stored up Tether. Then it would send that Tether, they'd have a trade, and I don't think it was an actual transaction between the Tether and the Safemoon. I think it was an agreement of how much. So they received all the Tether, and then they received the Safemoon to redistribute it. And then the Tether, through John's admission of owning the Moondog NFT, and through his owning of the Gabe wallet, we see millions of dollars of Tether go from Bitmart to the Devil wallet, to the 666 wallet, that's John's, and to the Gabe wallet. And then both those wallets cash out about 19 million in a Kraken account, a centralized exchange that's used for moving money off of decentralization into your bank account. We don't know what happens after that point. We do know that John has $1 million house. He has a multi-million-dollar house. How do I know that? I don't want to dox John, so it's this weird thing. But I've talked to people who have been there. I'm not going to say who. I've talked to people who have been there who were part of it. And what that leaves us with is almost a full picture of Safemoon coming out, where they didn't have the wallet ready, they didn't have the exchange, they didn't have the blockchain. We lost our people. How could John not know that Kyle took that much out of the liquidity pool? How could John not know that Kyle paid Thomas $2 million from what was taken out of the LP? And what we see is, if on a large scale, John is profiting while his project is going down, in my opinion, that's not bleeding Safemoon. If John's had a very cheap house and wasn't blowing millions of dollars on stuff that doesn't help us, that's bleeding Safemoon. And this is just my opinion, but I think that John's vision of Safemoon is not what it is. In my opinion, John's vision of Safemoon is where he wants to take it with what he's doing with the money that he's gained through these exchange listings. And that was wind turbines. That is a lot of stuff that sounds really cool, but ultimately we don't know if it's going to have an impact on our price, which is scary to think about, because John has to make something very real for Safemoon to succeed. And I think our best hope is in the exchange and possibly the blockchain. They can't just put out something not new, that hasn't been done before, that doesn't attract money. It has to be something big that a lot of people want to use for Safemoon to actually do well. So what we see as investors is a possible moral problem with Safemoon, because the future of Safemoon, this future of your bag and your dreams of Safemoon right now is controlled by one man. One man's vision of, and one man's decisions on what the financing is going to be. So there's a moral problem of how do you feel about somebody spending millions of dollars on themselves while we're all backing him and buying these dips? And maybe he has an explanation. I messaged him. I said, hey, if there's perspective I'm missing, or you think I'm coming at this wrong, let me know. Obviously, John's not going to respond. But I did reach out to give him a chance. And then beyond that, as an investor, you have to decide morally if you're okay with that. If you think the investment's going to do well regardless, or if you think it's going to crash. And it's everybody's decision to make. You know what I mean? So I am going to, that music's getting a little too intense for me. I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to talk to you guys a little longer, and then I'm going to do a space. Why do you think Safemoon left so fast? Come on, CC, Safemoon Army. Safemoon Whale left. Safemoon Whale cashed out at a great time. The price just kept tanking. And Safemoon Whale, I thought, okay, so personally, when Safemoon Whale left, I thought, man, I think he's going to regret that. But no, the price just kept tanking. He actually sold at a really good time. He could buy back in for much cheaper right now. I think it's going to drop 2 to 3 zeros more, and then revolt will happen. Could he have bought the house using money from other crypto or non-crypto sources? I think it's a possible Clement horizon, but I think it's extremely unlikely. That was John always said, we are a tech company and not a currency, with notes in our head. Crypto Moon Boy, what's up, man? Oh, wow, look at this futter going live, trying to ask legitimate questions and raise logical concerns. I'm just going to ignore that and call you a futter. Thanks, Moon Boy. Appreciate you, man. Is this the real dip? No, it never has been. It's more likely that Safemoon will keep going down than going up on a massive scale. That's why I try to tell people, like, if you guys are trying to buy a dip, it's probably just going to keep going down for a while. And you could have saved a ton of money by waiting. But ultimately, it is a gamble. In case it suddenly took off, it's just the chances of that are extremely low comparatively to it going down. Crypto Moon Boy, why even bother? It's a dump. Oh, he's trolling me. Glory hole. He's just trolling me. Me and him are cool. We're friends. Not saying he's a futter, but this is all speculation without a forensic accounting of money. Safemoon is a company and has to file taxes. So that's another thing. DeFi is like, yo, if you're spending millions of dollars, what are your taxes going to look like? I hope you guys are setting enough aside. Crypto Moon Boy is joking, guys. The price 3x after Safemoon whale dumped, and then it went back down. It went way back down. It's way below what Safemoon whale sold at. How about his salary? CEOs don't exactly make minimum wage. Yeah, I mean, what do you think? What do you think a CEO should make, guys? What do you think? That's a great question. What do you think, John? In your opinion, I'd love to see your guys' answers. What do you think John should make a year? This is actually the perfect question. Thank you for saying that. And it's just your opinion, you know. How much do you think John should make a year? I think LP affects the volatility, so sells have a much greater impact. If you take out LP, sells will tank the charts a lot more. Okay, GapED says 300,000. Mitch Bromwell, thanks for the dollar, man. I appreciate that. Maddie says 70K to 250K. It's great. Okay, $1. Salary of a CEO of a company that size is over $1 million. Where do they get the money to pay for that, Safemoon Dog? That $1 million? Why should he be getting paid $1 million if the company's not profitable? Unless... I have no idea what he should make. It's capitalism. That's the point. Well, I'm just asking you how you feel about it. 75K is a teacher's salary. 100K max. This is a great question. Catch you later, Artem. Have a good one, bro. Depends on the profits. The company mean nothing. That's a good question. Safemoon in big trouble. Classical lawsuit, no joke. Class action lawsuit, no joke. What do most CEOs make at a tech company? Someone told me the other day. I don't remember. I think it was like 200,000 or something. I don't know. 1 million with performance bonus. Okay. CEO wage should be reflection of company success. I agree with that. Bonuses are on positive progress. 100% agree with that. In reality, he makes 2-3 million for lying to us, but he should make 200K to 400K. Crypto Moon Boy. It's a great point, Crypto Moon Boy. I won't read that one out loud for the same reason, but I 100% agree. Where is 75K a teacher salary? Yeah, actually, I don't think teachers make that much, actually. Yeah, that's a good point. They get paid crappy. Wrong question. He should make money when he actually starts making money. It's not profitable. That's a good point, Lawrence. Like, the money that they're making is off us buying and selling their token on a large scale. That isn't being portrayed that way. It doesn't say 5% for development cost. It says 5% to be sent to the developers to be added for Safemoon liquidity pool for Safemoon tokens. He should be paid based on the result of his work. So does John deserve to get paid from exchanges 5% that he said would go to the LP, but they might use it for development, and then they don't tell us? Is kind of another question. Oh, you must mean a professor. How do most CEOs become billionaires? They are all shady, of course. Make 80K. Okay, so nobody's answer was above $1 million. Like, I heard one person say 1 million plus bonuses if he does well. So how do you guys feel if he was spending millions of dollars on himself? And that's the thing I'm thinking of. Like, okay, if you spent, let's just say you bought a multi-million-dollar house, and How would you guys feel about that? And if you're willing to buy a multi-million-dollar house, what else are you willing to buy? Are you willing to buy very nice cars and your insurance and the stuff you put in your house, very nice furniture and clothing? It starts to get to a point where it's like, I think if I had a real clear picture of what John did or is doing with the money, how lavishly he's living, then I would be able to really come to a solid conclusion for myself on whether I was done with Safemoon or not covering it. I'll say I feel it doesn't look good though. Can you explain why there is still hope from you in spite of the potential misuse of funds? Yeah, because they could still make something. They have millions of dollars. They have a huge name. They have everything they need to make something. They can just hire people and pay them to make what they want. You know what I mean? If they fail, they're the worst people in the business. When you have all the resources, all the money, all the reach you need, and you can't make something happen. Just because they do immoral things doesn't mean that they might necessarily fail. Now, the lawsuits are concerning. Maybe the taxes are concerning. If they're spending millions of dollars, who's paying the taxes on that? Is that Safemoon as well? But the real question is, how much does Papa make? He bought a McLaren. Well, no, I wouldn't say that's the real question. Thomas admitted to Kyle paying him $2 million. I do think Thomas made more than that, like quite a bit more. John isn't panicking right now and thinking how to improve the price of Safemoon, then his salary is too high. I agree, Tim. John needs to focus on the price. You say we don't talk about price? That's why we're here. We didn't buy into Safemoon. And that's another thing is like, yes, there is this excitement of maybe doing something innovative, but it's not been like very clearly, correctly put out there. When you start hearing John talk about return on impact, like, okay, we didn't make money, but did we do what we set out to do? That's a scary thing to hear him talk about. Although it could be a good approach to it, but when you're using investors' money and we haven't decided on it, it's a pretty crazy picture. I just want to restate my goal. If you love Safemoon, if you believe in Safemoon, that's totally okay. I don't hate you. I'm not trying to get you to sell. But if you don't want to hear negative things, my channel is probably not the best place for you right now. If I somehow became magically convinced that John didn't spend millions of dollars and it was okay, or even if John did and he at least finally put something out that actually helped our price, at least then I'd be confident in covering the project because I knew that people might make money. But if I'm covering a project where the price only keeps going down in a positive light, like, it's a scary thing. I don't want to play a role in deceiving people into losing money and believing in something that hurts them. And I don't know what Safemoon will do. Cash for gold facts. We all lost a lot of money. Meanwhile, as John is clapping some girls' cheeks in his mansion. Oh, gosh. Okay, I didn't expect that comment to go that way. Plus, didn't we say in the past, this is a 5-year project? I mean, you can believe that if you want, but nobody knows what year project it is. That's a complete speculation. It could be a no-year project. It could be 6-year project, 3-year project. You don't know. But it's a terrible perspective to teach as if it's a fact that people should just keep buying these dips until the project does what we all believe it's going to do. Especially without providing all the information. That's kind of sketch. Maybe John is trying to save what others intended to rug pull. John pulling his own equity out as he wants needs. Some may be going back into LLC business and owner's contribution. Should we trust Mr. Adult and Hugh LC words from Discord? What did they say, Shebs? What did they say that we should trust or not trust? Yeah, don't fall on that sword. We're all investors. We don't much care about windmills, etc. We care about rate of interest. Return on impact. Maybe I'm saying the wrong one. John seems to not care about ROI. I've lost faith in John, but I'm not withdrawing. It's not worth it. I'll stay in. Yeah, like we're here for the price. We're here for the price or for something that's going to affect the price. I think if you ask the Safemoon Army, some of them might say they're fine. But if you said like, hey, what if we made something like really cool and innovative, but it had no impact on our price? Would you be okay with that? I think most of them would say like, no, I'm kind of here for like the price to go up one day or the volume to be high enough one day that we get good reflections. You might be playing a role in deceiving investors now. I don't think so, Christopher. If you want to try to say that, explain why you think that, go ahead. Catch you later, Ken. Have a good one, bro. Want to fly out to Utah? I was thinking about it, Paul. I was thinking about driving out there for Cryptopia. I'm not sure if I will or not, though. Did you catch the kid Barrio on Twitter yesterday talking about whales organizing to go to Utah? His account got deleted a few hours later. It was weird. What? Why would it get deleted, Hyper? Also, why would whales go to Utah? Well, to like fight John or something? Are they threatening John? That might be why. Don't threaten people, guys. That's not good. If I went there, I wouldn't. It would just be to meet people. It wouldn't be to expose or attack or anything like that. Obviously, I wouldn't do that. You don't know how many your project it is. We went from Project Phoenix to Gambia to Windmills to Banking the Unbank. What the F the project is, I really don't know anymore, and I listen to all AMAs. Yeah, I don't know either, man. I just know Cryptonomics, exchange, maybe a blockchain. I don't know, It's funny how you say or ask a question and base an answer you get from viewers is how you act. You're not neutral. I don't claim to be neutral, Flaco. I'm not neutral. I lean towards they've done things that I don't agree with. I'm neutral in the sense that I don't judge you and attack you if you believe differently than me. It looks like you're getting popular because people fighting, and that's your gas. Like you attacking me right now. You're not neutral in what I'm talking about. I'm neutral, and I'm not going to attack you for what you believe. You're not neutral in that you are going to attack me for what I believe. That's the only way I'm neutral. Otherwise, no, I'm not neutral. I definitely lean towards tons of terrible things have happened behind the scenes for this project. I really appreciate you and Crypto Moon Boy for being real. Not like that good guy and ex-convict guy. Okay, I don't want to trash talk other people, other YouTubers. Lost 20K, depression for economy is imminent. Get liquid to ease the financial downturn. Sorry to hear that, Chagog. We need a new hire, a new consolidation. Businesses take time to grow. Many businesses fail as well. People don't like to compare it to what the probability is. You know what I mean? Everybody likes to compare themselves to the Bitcoin and the successful ones. And it's like, yeah, that's possible. But for a realistic perspective, don't we also have to compare you to most projects who don't make it and do fail? Is that not realistic? A lot of people aren't willing to really have that conversation. Project on how something to do with the owls. Yep, the owls is another just like spit in the face of the investors, unfortunately. Dude, it was super weird. I'll shoot you some of his DMs if you want. Okay, yeah, go ahead, Hyper. I'll check it out. Here is the Flacco guy who pulled all the money from his pocket and his parents. Now he's losing it. Listen to everyone, but always come to your own conclusion. Yeah, I think there's an approach to information is want the truth over anything else. Know that the problem to finding the truth is usually in your desire to believe something else. Like everybody who believes a lie, it's usually not from lack of information. It's usually from a delusion that they hold on to because it's attached to their desires. So once you realize that, I realize that that the truth is usually hidden in the last place you'll look because it's the last place you want to look. And you have to be willing to explore in every direction and then see what's logical. Because it's an interesting thing is like for something to be true, it can't just be kind of true. It has to fit with all the facts. Truth can't contradict itself. So it can't just line up with a couple pieces of information. It has to line up with literally every piece of information. It can't contradict anywhere. So there's a very high standard for what's true. And we just have to have an honest approach to it. I bet if you tried to run a space under a different name than Safemoon, not even 50 viewers, not FUD. Facts. Probably. If you're, it doesn't matter if I get viewers or not. You could be a journalist and wait outside the office until he comes onto public property and ask questions with the camera. I'm not going to do that. I'm not trying to get up in John's face. I think people will. I don't want to be part of that, and I don't want to encourage that. Here it is, Flacco the guy. The whole market is going down, not just Safemoon. Yeah, we know it is, but Safemoon is also going down whether the market goes up or not. Just like other projects are. Even Evergrow. I love Evergrow. It's going down, but it's up to the teams to put out something real. I bet if you tried to run a... Okay, I already read that. Simple, it was a scam from the start. Team are all rich now. Yes, and some business succeed. That's part of the world. It's not naive. Yeah, a lot of people only compare them to the major, big, positive things and get mad if you compare it even slightly to the negative possibilities. Alrighty, I believe my boy CC, you've been right about a lot of things. I have been, but the thing is like, okay, even if they did bad stuff, it doesn't mean they're going to jail, and it doesn't mean Safemoon's going to fail. It's a weird place to be. But it's like, how do you feel about it if they did those things? Do you still want to support the project? If you were a YouTuber, would you continue to talk about a project? I mean, I could always talk about it in the light of like, hey, the team has spent money on themselves and I don't know where it's going to go. But people just don't want to hear that. They just want to hear how rich they're going to be. You know what I mean? It's a positivity only echo chamber, even if it contradicts what's true. Especially when it contradicts what's true. That's when they really turn on you. Cognitive dissonance, 100%, yeah. Have you seen anyone do the research to find all the ad liquidity calls for Safemoon? I'm curious how much money was manually put in other than through swap and liquify. I have not personally, but that's a great thing to look into, Brad. Chris Joyce says, I remember thinking that we were going to kill a zero this year, but we were close to adding a second one already. Yeah, it's pretty depressing, isn't it? Yeah, we've delivered a wallet, and that Ryan was responsible for that. Why can't a business fail and then succeed? Because that happens too. It does happen. I don't know, Mark. I don't know what will happen. I'm still holding a decent amount of EGC, so if that tells you anything, it's all or nothing for me, and I have a good position. So you making your own? No, I'm delaying my own coin because people keep lying and saying that I'm attacking Safemoon, which for one, I'm not attacking Safemoon. I'm just talking about what's been done behind the scenes about Safemoon and how that relates to us as investors. And they're saying I'm doing that to try to convince people to buy my project. And, in my mind, I'm not saying they're stupid, but the idea of that is just idiotic. If I wanted to take Safemoon investors, which I'll be honest, I don't mind exposing my idea to them. But I wouldn't go, hey, guys, Safemoon's a scam. Come over to my project. They're going to freak out and turn on me. I would say, hey guys, I love Safemoon and I'm making my project. If you guys want to check it out, check it out. Much more likely to get investors, right? Which should tell them something. It should tell them that I'm willing to talk about these things, even though it has a negative impact on me. And the negative impact is actually pretty big. I've been thinking about it lately. Projects that wanted to work with me, people that wanted to work with me and talk to me, they don't quite want to be associated with all the negativity and hate that I'm getting. Even though it's not a lot, it is a lot, but it's not at the same time. So it's like a huge loss for me. It's a huge L for me to talk about these things. I've lost a couple hundred subscribers. Views do not go up, and people are attacking me, my reputation. They're lying about me. They're assuming the worst about me and liking each other's posts and their delusion. Without even asking me if what they're saying is true, while saying that everything negative about John is speculation. Like, double standards are insane. So no, I've decided to delay it for multiple reasons. One is that it's a terrible time in the market, and it's a terrible time because I'm being accused of something that I'm not doing. So by telling people like, hey, I'm not doing this, it should reassure people who might have been convinced of that lie. Well, maybe he's just doing this to try to pump his own coin, of like, okay, he called it off. So clearly he's not trying to pump his own coin. He's not talking about his own coin unless people ask him about it. I'm literally not talking about my coin unless you guys ask me about it. Because there's nothing to tell you, because I'm not going to say what it is until I make it, if I make it. And another thing is, like, it's a huge commitment, right? It's like a major commitment to it, to try to make a token do well for tons of people. That's not a small thing, right? And trying to stay within regulations with the SEC coming after you, being considered a security, the taxes. I mean, there's just so much that really gets involved with it that it's better to wait and see if the opportunity arises to launch a good project in the future with the right team, with the right roadmap, that actually helps people. Because I've said this, guys, like, I don't want to do a project that pump and dumps people. That's the last thing I want. I'm not going to do it. And that's actually what I aim to go against. But because somebody asked me about my project, this is going to get used as like, oh, see, he's pumping Safemoon, he's pumping this. Like, people just love lying about you. It's crazy, the hypocrisy that we see. Either way, guys, yeah, I'm still cool with EGC. I'm trying not to hurt their reputation. That's why I try not to talk about them too much, because I get so much flack and hate that I don't want to say how I feel about EGC because I don't want it to look like I'm trying to talk bad about Safemoon and then talk good about EGC. So I'm kind of trying to distance myself from things that I don't want to have a negative impact on. The only person that released anything on the Safemoon team, Ryan, is now gone. Safemoon themselves have released nothing since inception. Exactly. I meant the swap. I guess you could say they listed this list the swap or whatever. Riches won't come without pain. It's the same as there is no freedom without a drop of blood. That's true, but sometimes that pain is realizing that you invested in something that you're not going to make money on. Like people lose on projects all the time, and that logic doesn't work. Like they just lost that money on that project, so it's not guaranteed that because something is painful that it's going to therefore return a profit. The profit might be you stopping buying tokens that are doing bad. You know what I mean? It may not be financial gain. Safemoon was never a scam. It just had team members with bad intentions, and now they lack direction. Add to that, they're supposed to be transparent, yet no one has a clue what they're actually doing. Cheeseface says, UST lost its peg. At this point, nobody really knows the future of any of this. It's pretty crazy, right? I like when you be honest and open. It sucks people cannot look at things logically. Also, good call not launching it. However, ready to be a pre-sale investor. Yeah, I know you guys want to get on a good project. I won't do it unless it's I really believe it'll help you. And I really believe that I can commit to it. You know, I have to really commit to it. I can't just kind of commit to a project. And here's a good thing that's worth noting. Let's say I launch a project, or any of you guys launch a project, and let's just say you made a ton of money. What is your motivation to keep that project going if you are rich? Right? It would be dependent on you wanting the project to succeed for other investors. But if your needs are being met, if you've got plenty of money, nice house, food, all that stuff, one of the most driving factors of successful people is desperation. And I've witnessed this myself with YouTube. If I make some money off of a sell, my desperation to succeed on YouTube drastically decreases. And I have to like push myself against that. But when you're desperate and everything's on the line, there's just this, you're much more likely to succeed, in my opinion, is the people who are desperate, or their vision or goal is beyond that. Like if somebody gets into it because they want it to succeed and they're already financially well off, that's a good leader. But if somebody gets into it who was not financially well off and then they make a bunch of money and that was part of the reason why they got in, that's a huge like removing factor of their drive to make that thing succeed. And this is a serious thing to look at in the space, right? Very serious thing to look at. Is what drives somebody to make a project succeed. And because they get rewarded the most, you have the likeliness of the leaders of projects, and myself included, it's something I had to think about, being paid so well that they lose motive to actually make the project succeed. And that's unethical, right? It's not right. Check your Discord DMs whenever. Okay, I'll check that. It's likely our grandkids are going to look at us as idiots for putting this much energy into this. It's likely won't know it's many of our one shot to economic freedom. At least CC was never a drip shill. Apparently drip did really well. I mean, I guess the price is down, but I guess a lot of people made money on that. I don't know. To make impact in the world and the market. Motivation is to hire other people to work hard for you. Yeah, that's the motivation, right? Is to get a team of people who are driven while you just reap in the benefits for starting something, right? I think that's what we see with CEOs of a lot of companies. It's like they don't really do much, but they make the most. Maurice says, oh my, is this logical reasoning I'm hearing? Isn't that banned amongst the Safemoon army? Somebody's going to take what I said out of context. The leader of a project is first and foremost what people invest in a lot of the time. You already got our trust, just need to see the idea. I wish I could tell you, but let's not talk about my project until it's set in stone, which will probably be at the shortest months, but depending on the market, much longer. I don't really want to talk about it anymore. Drip is all any investor needs now. Seriously, if you're not looking at drip, you're okay. I don't want to do that. John took that money, just changed the CEO to a new one. Simple. Safemoon is big enough, and there's enough money for it to grow even without bad actors taking money. Did you do a timestamp as to when the wallet stopped the activity and when old members left? I tried to watch the entire 6-hour video. No, I did not. But it continued after Thomas left, if that's where you're going. Yeah, it's so interesting to see. Kind of, I just want to touch on this because we all already know it, but we see people who like they believe in Safemoon, they wanted to succeed, and they believe in John because their dreams of being rich are on the line, and they think that they're in this huge project that's going to succeed. And it's so interesting to watch how they go about information. Guys, John did this. No, that's not. That's speculation. That's FUD. And then, well, they hinted at owls, guys, and owls could be mesh networks, and it could be Elon Musk, and it could be all this. Things are huge, guys. I'm just saying, not financial advice, but I'm just saying, things are looking pretty big. Not financial advice. Oh, well, I think they took from the LP. Well, that's old news. Why are you talking about old news? I mean, what is the deal? Why are you talking about that stuff? And it's just like, you guys, all you have, like, what? It's like, all you have to do is, okay, actually, there was something really I wanted to say. They probably fired Ryan for actually doing some work. The timestamp thing. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. So anytime information come out, we watch them say, that's not John's wallet. Devil wallet, not his. Moondog, no, maybe he was just somebody got it for him, Maybe he was just replying to the post. And it's like they don't speculate the other way, and they keep giving John the benefit of the doubt, and they never speculate the other way. And it just goes each way, all the way down to, okay, it's his wallet. Well, maybe he didn't spend that much. Oh, he did spend a lot. Well, maybe he spent it on development. Oh, he spent it on himself. Okay, well, he deserves to get paid. And it's just fighting you. Every just piece of information, every step of the way, you're being fought with resistance from people. Love your videos, man. Keep on rocking. Thanks, Brian. I don't really know. If I stop covering Safemoon, I don't know what I'm going to do with this channel. It was built on Safemoon. Hey, Control. I'm a mod for a really cool and upcoming project. I want to push it here, but I think it's just either they're fixing some mitigation and crypto space. I can connect. You can reach out to me on Twitter or Discord. Is fine, man. Drips down 90%. Okay. Does that make it a failure? It's funny to watch people point out how other projects are down in price while Safemoon's down. And then they say, but Safemoon's different because it's a tech company. It's like, okay, if you don't want Safemoon price being pointed out, then don't do it to other projects. Just so many double standards. It's like disorienting. John is making millions of profit from investors' money in the LP. Whatever happened to the Safemoon card? I haven't heard anything about it since March 32nd. I think it's, I don't know. We applied to get the card. I'm not sure exactly what's happening. If you bought at the all-time high, but okay, guys, I think I'm going to open up a space because I don't really want to do this too long today, and I imagine the spaces always kind of get out of hand. I will open a space. I'll post the link, and you guys can come in and talk. I'll probably do it maybe an hour or two, and then I'm going to get off just to kind of have this conversation a little bit further. I think everybody here just agrees that what we've talked about. All right, guys, I'm going to start a space, and I'm about to post the link, and anybody in the chat can click that link, join the space on your Twitter, and say how you feel. I'm trying to pull the conversation away from the mindset, the dishonest mindset approach of Safemoon people who really believe in it, who attack other people, of trying to deal with them. And I'm trying to just pull it away from them and say, hey, you guys do what you want. I'm not trying to convince you. We're just over here having our own conversation. So let me start that up. Thanks for your hard work and time. Thanks, 8 Reasons. I appreciate that, man. You're welcome, Mark. Such a futter. Criticism is an opinion for good or just a fellow who knows more than everyone else. Yet the biggest fool, the last critic, is the biggest fool of all. The world starts and ends with him. It's poetic, man. Great stuff, dude. Me too. Got 2 wallets max out now. Thanks, crypto control. We're doing Twitter today, guys. We're doing Twitter. People don't really go on the Discord. They have trouble, so we'll stick with Twitter. I just have to start a live. And it's really just the same discussion we had, but just giving people, you guys and other people, a chance to come up. Trying to think of a title that will keep people from coming in who only want to hear positive things. Not to keep them out, but so that they don't come in and say I'm using the Safemoon name to try to spread fear. Warning. Warning FUD topics. Okay, that's great. Warning FUD topics. Nobody can complain, right? I'm sure nobody will complain. Good luck on the spaces. It'll still be live here as well. If you just want to keep listening to this conversation, you can hang out here. And if you want to join, you can also join. All right. Now I need to go to... Not suitable for believers in Safemoon. No, I'm just playing. Oh gosh dang it. Stupid phone. Alright, I just gotta grab that link real quickly. Then I gotta throw it in the YouTube. Oh, there it was. All right, I'm about to pin it to the top. It's pinned, so you guys can, there's the link to the Twitter space. Anybody can join. And then I just need to join the Twitter space. And then turn it up so you guys can hear. All right, guys, I'm switching over to the space. Hey, what's up, guys? How you guys doing? Somebody, I really don't want this to go on too long today. If somebody wants to come up and co-host, really appreciate that, since you just need a co-host and I just wing these things. So anybody want to co-host, you're welcome to. I'd appreciate it. If not, that's fine. I'm sure somebody will come in eventually, or I can just wing it the whole time. So if anybody in here wants to share it, let's try to get the people that want to be in here before I say what I'm going to say. That way people, that way I don't have to keep repeating myself is the only reason. Otherwise, I can just say it right now. I'll give it another minute or two just to give people a chance to get in here. I think the problem for me is that I do it on my computer and on my phone, and I think when you do that, it creates issues and doesn't show you who's trying to come up and whatnot. So, okay, that's fine. If people don't show up, that's totally cool. So, um, the purpose of this space is to ask everybody their own opinion without attacking them or judging them. Just how do you feel? What is an acceptable amount for the team to take from 5% from Bitmart that said it was intended for the liquidity pool, but that they might use it for development? Um, at what point does it become immoral or a problem for you? Because everybody's going to have a different perspective on that. Um, so anybody can come up on stage and share what they want to say. I'm thinking about straying away from having the conversation on. Uh, okay, we'll just get some people up here and get the conversation going. Hey, what's up, Waterville? How's it going, man?
Good. How you doing, man? I caught the end of the YouTube thing, and I mean, I get what everybody's saying about the Kool-Aid crowd on the Discord and everything, but I just want to remind everybody that Lawyer 101 is a gag order. Ever since the first lawsuit, and there seems to be a lot more lawsuits coming up or people joining in on a class action, even if this is completely legitimate. And I haven't done the math, but the 6 million could easily be part of that 1%. And I don't know how many people are aware that they're charging other coins a lot of money to be listed on that Safemoon swap. And I'm always confused about this dance in between being a crypto, being a private business, being a tech company, being an LLC. You know what I mean? And with no reported taxes or access to the reported taxes, who knows where this money came from or if there is a legitimate reason for that money. You know what I mean? It sucks to be in this position, especially with the asset so far down, with the FUD storm, maybe never recover. But I don't know. I don't get emotional like a lot of people. I made my plan. I did not have an exit plan, mostly because of capital gains tax. I knew I would have to hold after a year after my last purchase, which is not looking good right now, honestly. But still, I still believe there could be a legitimate reason. That's all I had to say.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. I feel the same way as you do. Another thing I should say a couple things real fast is one thing is that sorry, I'm just gonna mute for a second. One thing is that my goal is not to try to reach believers in SafeMoon who don't want to hear negative information. That's why I put a warning on this space. If you believe in SafeMoon, you don't want to hear negative stuff, that you probably don't want to be here. This is just for people who want to talk about this stuff. The other thing is that it's trying to decide between, okay, did what they do, if John took millions of dollars on and spending millions of dollars on himself, I said if, then how do you feel about that? Are you okay with that? Would you sell because of that? Or is this about money? And yes, it might suck what him and others on the team have done, but you still think that Safen might make money one day. Because I invest in stuff without having any belief in the morality of the person I'm investing in. I'm only investing because I think I might make money. So it's like these two different things that are being talked about here. And I think a lot of people's belief in the price going up is based in John, which is why this is such an interesting conversation. If you wanted to say something to that, Waterville, you can, and then we'll go to the next person.
Well, I mean, let's be perfectly clear. I mean, I looked into the project 100%. I don't know anything about any of these people. I don't know these people. I mean, I normally don't give my opinion to people, but at this point, I will say I think this kid's an idiot. And whenever he talks, I'm sorry, I'm a lot older than everybody else, but one of the things I always say about Ronald Reagan is he used to talk so great, but never actually say something. This this guy Caroni never is saying anything. Like he says all these positive things. People seem to like him, or he's buying these awards with donations and everything. And again, the people don't have anything to do with it. And if he's a crook, he needs to go to jail. I mean, I know a lot of corporations start in Utah for a reason, but and LLC means limited liability, but fraud is fraud. When it comes tax time or it comes to owning up to this judge or this lawyer, if he doesn't have all of his receipts, he's not going to be saying, oh, I screwed up and I used that wallet so much that I had. He's, even if there's a legitimate reason, he already has personal property in a wallet that he may later says is business. That is definitely not allowed in business. Like somewhere along the line, there's going to be a severe penalty, if not a fine to him. And I just hope that if he is stealing, he doesn't just get to walk away defaced, but financially in great shape, which happens too much. That's what I say.
Actually, I have another question, and I want to get to everybody else to let them say what they want to say, but I also want to ask these questions is, why would the team, I almost lost that. Why would the team not say 5% tax from Bitmart for development? Why say it's for the LP and then say we might use it and then not tell us when they're really using it? And then we see them with millions of dollars being spent and nobody's quite sure where it's coming from, but we can see on the blockchain millions of dollars from Tether going from Bitmart to the devil, the Gabe, and to out to the Kraken. So why not just say for development, and then they would be fine. They'd say, guys, we told you, or not development, but yeah, I guess they could say development or for salaries and just tell us, hey guys, we're using this to pay ourselves. All I had to do was say that, and
Yeah,
we would have been like, okay.
yeah, I agree 100%. And I think that he's taking, being quiet and like in the beginning, they said a couple of things and then every single thing they said didn't happen. I mean, they're not very productive. I don't want to shill, but I'm on another coin that like it's the only investment I have in my vast portfolio that has been 100% all green. These kids from Australia have hit every goal. They're growing exponentially. And I mean, this kid's a total mess up here. But as far as the wallet goes, crypto, I could tell you one thing right now that he cannot do, even if he has it for an excuse such as you guys are all a lot better probably at figuring out the math on the reflections, but the bit mark is a unique area to be a thief at because you have to understand, I don't want to give this guy his defense, but I will tell you mine if I was in that situation is, Bitmark's a different animal because they don't do the daily reflections. We have to take the tax from them and then give them back reflections. So we're holding them and using them for other things else. And again, you shouldn't have your own personal NFT in there. And every single one of those things, as far as I know with the blockchain, you could make a note like I do on some of my portfolio apps that designated exactly what the hell that was. And it would have made this all a lot easier, even though, again, they started to be quiet about promise and stuff and be less disclosure. It just doesn't come across as very honest. And if this is all legitimate, he still should lose his job for the shitty way that he did it. That's all I have to say, guys.
Okay, thanks, man. Yeah, I'm not saying you were doing this. I just want to also make this clear that you express however you feel. Anybody can come up and say whatever they want. Just try to be respectful when you are disagreeing with someone. Let's go ahead and go to Safemoon Garage.
Yeah, hi, Crypto Control. Thanks for chucking open a space. Great to see Moonboy in here. Big fan. Keep up the good work. I just wanted to sort of say my bit in relation to. I've sort of questioned my investment over the last couple of weeks, and been close to hitting the sell button, but I thought, you know what, no, I'm going to hang on. I made a decision from the beginning that I'm going to ride this to the moon or to zero, whatever happens, and I'm going to stick with that. I've got a big bag, and I'm now massively down on my investment, like you wouldn't believe. And I'm just going to leave it. But what my issue is the lack of transparency at the moment, and we need to get to the bottom of some of where this money's been spent and where it's going, etc. Now, I know John, I think, owns the company, doesn't he? And the CEO, if he owns the company, he can pay himself what he likes. Them's the rules. And I appreciate we're not investors in Safemoon the company, we're investors in Safemoon the token. But I feel at this stage, we still haven't really had anything delivered, and we're kind of in that fake it till you make it stage. Now, bearing in mind that's kind of where we are, surely a CEO's salary should be a reflection on how the company's performing. And whilst we're not investors in the company, Safemoon is where it is because of us investing in its token, and therefore I think we do deserve some answers on where the money's gone. Is it a fraud? I don't know. There's so much information and speculation out there. It's difficult to tell at the moment. But what I would say is, as a Safemoon investor, I want to know the good and the bad and the ugly, because there are a lot of spaces and people who are hopium, and they say, oh, you shouldn't trade with emotion. Well, if you're only looking at the good stuff, then you are trading on your emotions. I want to know if the project's a fraud. I want to know if money's been stolen. I want to know if the company's not being run properly, because then that means that I can turn around and make an informed decision about, should I save the rest of my investment or not. And I'm pretty sure that's probably what most people are thinking, but don't want to say it. But anyway, that's my 2 cents. I'm holding my bag, and if it bankrupts me, then so be it.
That's a great point, because I don't know if I said it this space or on my YouTube, because the YouTube's going as well, but it's like, even if they're doing all kinds of shady things that we disagree with, that doesn't necessarily mean that it might not be profitable one day. So those are like two completely separate things. And I think I did say this. I've invested in things like he talked about that I have no idea of the morality of the people running it. So it's kind of like, are you okay with investing in something where you disagree with morally with what a lot of the team has done, if somebody comes to that disagreement? But if they still think they're going to make a lot of money because of the exchange or something, then they have to weigh that as well, because that's the reason they invested, is to make money. We didn't invest because we thought John was a righteous person. We invested because we thought we were going to make money because they're doing big things.
Absolutely. And I don't think, I don't know, is Safemoon going to be this massive tech giant that everyone thought it was going to be? I'm not so sure. Is it going to be successful in relation to the blockchain and the exchange? Yeah, it probably will be. And if you look at any exchange that's got its own token, so Binance, BNB, Swissborg, Mandala, look at the price of the tokens just from them having an exchange. So there is no doubt that with the burn mechanism and having a decent amount of volume on an exchange, the price of Safemoon probably will go up and people will make money. Is it going to be the millionaire printer machine we think it is? I don't know. I've yet to see it, but yeah, I think it's going to be down to individual people as to what they do with their bags. I just think the problem is, at the moment, with everything that's been going on in the last few weeks, it's obviously now been compounded by a really shitty market, which doesn't help. So it's difficult to tell that apart now. How much of the price drop is in relation to the FUD and the bad news, and how much of that is in relation to the downtrend. So you can look at Bitcoin and say, well, it's because of the market. Unfortunately, you can't say the same thing for Safemoon. So I think people have got to take a big, long, hard look at themselves, a big, long, hard look at their own investments, and make a decision for themselves as to whether they carry on holding or not. But I'm certainly not buying the dip for Safemoon. I'm chucking money in everywhere else, but I'm not buying the dip for Safemoon.
Thanks for saying all that. Okay, we can go to Click Ricks. How's it going, man?
Yo, what's up, crypto control? Yeah, it's Slick Rick. It looks like Click Rick, but yeah, it's Slick. But anyways, yeah, man. I mean, should a CEO of a newer project like him have a big house and millions of dollars from where we're at right now? No. Do I think anybody that worked for this company should be a millionaire at this point? No. Do I think that there's a lot to grow? Is there a lot to still believe in? That's up to the person. But yeah, there's a lot of shady things going on. And until everything actually comes out and goes to court and the case is solved, either a good way or a bad way, I mean, it's the biggest gamble right now in crypto from what I see. So make your own judgment. Do you think it's still a good investment? Stay in. I'm staying in because I got a little bit, and if I lose it, I lose it. But all I can say is that do your own research. And from what it looks like right now, it doesn't look good. But yeah, I'm still here. So
thanks. I appreciate that. So yeah, anybody can come up and say whatever it is they want to say. I will say I put a FUD warning on this space because my goal is not to reach investors that believe in SafeMoon and convince them not to. So I didn't really think about that really, but I was like, oh, what if I put a warning label so that people don't see SafeMoon and then they just join. I was like, oh, I think that's a great idea. Because there's people out there, they just want to believe in SafeMoon. They don't want to hear anything negative, and I'm okay with that. I respect their choice to do with their investment what they will. It's a gamble, and they might end up making money. But there's a lot of us who do just want to discuss these things, and I don't want the conversation to be about how those people and their mindset can't uh, reasonably question information. So I think this is a good move away from that to actually hear your guys' opinions. My main questions to anybody up here who can come up here is how much would you be okay with John or the team spending on themselves? At what point would that become problematic to you? And yeah, I guess we'll just leave it at that question for now, and then I'll ask that another question in the future. I won't be doing this for too long, no 7-hour stream or anything, but that's the main question. Anybody can come up. And also, I could use the co-host. If somebody wants to co-host, I'd really appreciate that. If you got some free time, that'd be really cool. And anybody can do that. So yeah, just at what point, how much, what's the dollar value that you would be okay with John or the team spending on themselves from the 5% Bitmart LP that was intended for the Pancake Swap LP? Yeah, I mean, I can just rant for a little bit. But yeah, but I guess that like we said, the question comes down to, okay, what if he spent more than what you'd be okay with? What if he spent millions and millions of dollars on himself? Would you be okay with that? Would you still invest? And for a lot of people, I think it would be like, okay, I don't agree with that. I don't like that, but I still, it's like, why do you believe in SafeMoon? Do you believe it because you thought John was a righteous person, or do you believe in it because you thought the exchange was going to be revolutionary with Cryptonomics? And I think a lot of people's faith in SafeMoon right now is in John, which is why it's such a hot topic for, controversial topic right now. So for me, it was in Thomas. My faith in the very beginning was in Thomas and John and the team and reflections and the burn. And we knew that if they just get volume up, then we'd burn through a bunch of tokens and the price would have to go up. Like we all had this vision and dream. So we're just waiting for them to put out something with the price to go up. And I was talking about this earlier, which is like, if anybody in here launched your own token, if you're not rich and you launch a project and part of your desire for that project is to be rich, which I think most people launching projects today feel that way. I don't think they just actually think they have something innovative. They might think what they have is a good idea, but I think a huge motivating factor is they think they're going to make a lot of money by launching their own project. Well, if a huge part of the reason why they got in is taken away, like say they do make a lot of money, where's their drive to make that project successful for their investors if they've already gained what their part in it, So that's an interesting thing to look at, and that's why it's super important for something to be successful. The future of it has to be tied to the people who's driving the ship. And in my perspective, if John is a millionaire and his house is paid for and everybody sees him as a CEO, he has a lot on the line, actually. On top of being rich, like it's like, okay, you're probably not fueled by money at this point if you're John. You've already got probably tons of money. What's probably fueling him is a fire under his ass with lawsuits, fudders, projects not coming out, tons of people who are upset, and people talking about his house, people looking at his wallets. There is this fire that if you will just get something out there that raises the price, then people will probably start looking away from you. But the worse the project does, the more we're going to look at you and what you've been doing to see if you've been faithful to the SafeMoon army. Will somebody please come a co-host for me? Just anybody. So yeah, I think I was just wanting to get people's opinions on that right now. I can't see if anybody's requesting, but if nobody's requesting, that's okay. But yeah, if you take away the driving force of what motivates somebody to make a project successful, and here's the thing is like John, it's John's vision. Everybody who has a bag in SafeMoon, it's dependent on John and his vision and what he does with our money and where he takes the SafeMoon. It's all dependent on him. He makes all the decisions. And he doesn't have, I don't believe, a financial problem that he's trying to solve. So like we all do. And that's why, when I look at projects, it's super important. And if I'm going to put faith in the person who's running the project, that they are not, because they're going to get theirs first, right? They give themselves the pre-sale bags, they give themselves private sales, or they give themselves even rewards. You're going to get paid a lot. But if somebody is financially well off and they launch a project because they actually want it to be a top crypto or do something innovative, and their desire is not in making money for themselves, but in actually making a project that separates itself, to me, that's something to invest in. Because I've experienced that myself, which is, hey, Waterville, do you want to be a co-host? I could really use a co-host because I think that people might be requesting, and
Sorry, bro. I'm driving now. I scrolls that in right before I had to leave. I'm about to drive across the Bass
oh,
River
you're cool, man.
Bridge.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to cause you to get in a wreck.
No, I can't do it driving. Sorry.
I appreciate it.
Okay, no problem.
That's okay. Um, so yeah, I can keep ranting, but I was more so just trying to get your guys' opinion
I just want to
on this
quickly
topic.
disagree with that part right there.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because of tokens like Acoin, backed by Akon, known to be a multimillionaire artist, and their token is down to the floor as well, like 99% below all-time high. All kinds of promises about a wallet and a card and all these other things, just like Safemoon, and they're not delivering.
Okay. So what was it that you were disagreeing with?
Well, that you were saying basically like, someone that is, wanting to do a project that's already a millionaire, or someone that's already rich, so they're not in it for the money. But uh, like I was saying, for example, Acon or Acoin, the token is, created by Akon, who's a famous millionaire. Like, like you would think that people would invest in it thinking, oh, okay, well, he's already a millionaire, so he's not in it for the money, but he promised them an entire like Akon land or some shit, like an entire city that he's supposed to build, and the token's been around for like a year now, and they haven't started anything. Like no building, no project, no freaking, no card, no wallet, no blockchain, no exchange, none of the shit.
No, yeah, that's a great point. I definitely agree with that. That even if people that are rich are still out there making deals and trying to make even more money, they're trying to make even more millions. So it's definitely possible and definitely likely. We see it with Snoop Dogg and NFTs and all that stuff, that they're still interested in money just because they're way richer than us. I think that the contrast that I was trying to make, that's not guaranteed, is like somebody who is really struggling, to get by, like most of us are, and aren't even considered kind of rich, who launch a project. If they then become rich and then they have a ton of investors and a roadmap that's very hard to do, like the hardest part of a crypto is to make something real, a real utility that impacts the price. There's a lot of pressure and weight on them. And if they've already got theirs, then I think it's much easier, not saying that it's guaranteed, for that person to just be like, well, I'm taken care of, and they lose their motivation to actually make it succeed. And I experienced that myself in life. And I don't know about you guys, but I think it's the people who are like desperate the most who seem to make the biggest changes. And if you get taken care of early, then I feel like you take away part of that desperation. That's all I was saying. I wasn't saying like across the board, but I definitely agree with your point.
You know what that makes me think of when you're saying taking care of early? The
What's that?
exchange that we raised $1 million for in like the first month, that we've
Yeah.
seen nothing for.
How do you feel about that?
I feel that, like you were saying, like, do you feel that they should be, getting paid? And how do I feel if they've got $10 million right now? I feel like we already gave them $1 million for the exchange and they didn't give us anything. So I don't think they should be getting paid when there's not even an answer for that. Like, you'll never get a direct answer. Like, where the fuck's the $1 million from the exchange? Like, yeah, I donated to it, not a lot, but I'm sure, like, people in here could probably raise their hands and say, yeah, I put some money towards the exchange donations. And some random guy, Josh the Moon Man or whatever, donated like $500,000 of his own money supposedly towards it, and then disappeared. But
Yeah, that's crazy. How do you feel about the whole like if what they're getting paid from is the 5% from Bitmart deal that they said was for the LP, but that they might use it for development? How do you feel about like I'm trying to figure out like, where's the line that they crossed? And another question I have is like, why wouldn't they just say 5% for development and we're going to use that to pay ourselves? Is it because less people would have bought, or is there like a legal problem, or does it just look bad on paper for Bitmart when Safemoon holders went to buy that they didn't realize that 5% was not really going to the LP, but that it was actually going to the team and for development cost? Because to say it's for development on paper, and then to say on Twitter or Discord to say we might use that for development, and then to use it to pay yourselves and not tell us is just like this weird, like almost feels like you're reaching around the issue. Where if they had just said 5% development, we're using this to pay ourselves, and we're using it to develop everything on Bitmart, like there wouldn't be a problem here. There wouldn't be any
yeah,
problem.
yeah, it has to be clear on like specifics on what you're using the money for, because when it's extremely vague, then it's the same cryptic bullshit that we always get, and if you've seen one of John's tweets going around recently, that was from like last year. It's starting to get tossed around again. Was about John saying, "We will tell you before we take out LP, and if we do, we will tell you what it's for." And then they took out half the LP during the whole time the exchange was down for while the upgrade was happening. Didn't tell us that it was gonna happen, and then didn't tell us what it was for. And then, well, actually, when someone asked, he said, uh, you know, "Are you qualified to ask that question?" with his little pun, and then said, basically, "We're moving things around, and it'll be for like used for upgrading things like in the future." But that's not specific. That's not saying, you know.
Yeah, and we're in this interesting space where we're pretty and I'm trying to decide for myself, like, how do I feel about this? Am I going to quit covering this? And there does seem to be a moral problem. I do think there, like CoffeeZilla said, and I know a lot of people don't trust him and attack him and all that stuff, but I received that same attack. But CoffeeZilla said that he received a letter from the LLC for Safemoon and another company. I guess they have another LLC. It's the same place or whatever, that he should not disclose John Caroni's multi-billion-dollar house or million, sorry. And I don't know exactly how that was phrased. Like, did it actually say, "Don't say where John lives, don't dox him," um, or did it say, "We'd appreciate you if you not put out into the public the connection between this house and SafeMoon"? Now, I just want to say this. I knew about that before Coffee said that. I've known about this. There's a lot going on behind the scenes. There's a lot of people that are talking. That's what we do, right? And certain things I can't say until it's been made known public. Unless I think it's just ultimate end game, people need to know, and I have to betray the trust that has been given to me, which usually not the case. But I knew about this. And that's why I was like, you guys might be surprised if you find out that. That's why I was asking people, you think you'd be okay if John spent millions of dollars on himself? Um, and it's just this very weird, hard to tell gray area, because if you talk to developers like DeFi Mark, he was talking about like how he sees projects do that all the time. They do exchange listings and they use the money they get from that to pay for development and to pay themselves. So it's actually like a normal thing. So in that sense, it's like, oh, okay, it's not a huge deal. But then it's like, well, they didn't say it was going to be for the liquidity pool. Those other projects. This project did. It said this is going to be sent to the developers to be put into the liquidity pool. And then we got the like, oh, we might use that for development, but we'll let you know. And then we just didn't hear from it, and we see them spending millions. We follow the blockchain from John's Devil wallet to the Gabe wallet receiving from Bitmart millions of dollars, and Tano off ramping into a
See,
Kraken account that was about 19 million. Go ahead.
investors were led on to believe from the very beginning that the LP wouldn't ever be touched. That's the whole point of locking up the LP. It's for that safety and for that comfort, knowing that they're not going to be able to rug pull. And when it is locked, yeah, it's locked. It is safe. But like, when it's 100% unlocked, it gives them the full option to just pull out 100% at any time, at any moment. And to me, that's extremely unsafe. That's a huge red flag, and that's like the cryptos you should definitely stay away from. It even has a huge warning in red lettering. 99% of the LP is unlocked on KuCoin. And if you're going to go to any crypto that does have that warning, it will tell you the percent that's unlocked. And it's supposed to be 95% at minimum locked, and it's 99% unlocked. Like that's a huge red flag. And since that happened, since it's been unlocked, since they switched to V2, I believe is when it started showing that warning. That's when we started noticing the LP just being pulled for whatever reason. And it's like, come on, this is expected to happen with the LP unlocked. So people should have been fighting for the LP to be locked right away as soon as they heard that it was unlocked again or whatever. And yeah, they had the option to do that when the exchange was, or when the swap was down. No one was trading, and it's like, okay, the FUD hound leaves, 10 million of the LP goes missing, fucking huge sell off, and no one could do anything because no one's able to trade. Or like seemed like a fucking setup to me.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, there is a lot of negatives to Safemoon. We all believed in it. We try to keep it as positive as possible. But if you even just take a reasonable perspective towards Safemoon, it just looks bad time and time again, from the wallet to the owls to losing the team to what Kyle did. And it's just like, yeah, I don't even know. My main goal of this space was to just kind of, I really wanted to ask people. So if you guys want to come up, or if somebody wants to be a co-host, I'd really appreciate it. Just anybody. To help me see people, because it doesn't show me. To ask you the question, a couple questions is like, one, how much is too much for John? Like, is it 1 million? Is it 2 million? I asked my YouTube, and everybody said under 1 million. Most people said 100,000. Like, how much should John be making a year from Safemoon? And I think that's an amazing question to ask the investors. If anybody should be determining that, you would think it would be the investors. People will make the argument that he's a CEO, he can pay himself, whatever. That's fine, but I'm just trying to get a general understanding from the investors, from the community, of how they feel, what they feel is fair for John to be making while we're losing money, with the hopes of making more. And a lot of people said 100,000. Some people said 200,000. Someone said 400,000, and they said, but the success, the amount of money that he makes, is what the general feel that I got from my chat was, that should be tied to the success of the project, and that success should be tied to the price, and what they're making. So, and I really agree with that. But I kind of want to just open the space here and give people the ability to come up and tell me, how much do you think John should be making, and then how much beyond that is problematic to you morally. And beyond that, does that affect your belief in the project becoming financially rewarding in spite of that? Okay, what's up? Who did I bring? Was it Now or Stacks?
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, what's going on? I don't really have answer to that question. I just wanted to ask like a simple question, like, because you guys make it seem like so easy. I'm not like the smartest guy in this crypto space, but like, with us getting on the Mandala exchange, like, do you think like they don't do their research and stuff like that? And like, what do you think they think about it, stuff like that? Like, I don't know. I'm just
I
my
think they
first
just
time
make
speaking.
money
I'll
off of
probably,
it. You're fine, man. I mean, my perspective, and I could be wrong, is they make money. That's why they're doing it.
All right, I guess. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for coming up. Was there someone else up here? Did I skip someone?
Hey, I was just gonna say I could help co-host if you want.
Yeah, I don't know how to step down, so y'all, if y'all got it.
That's all right, man. You can hang out up here if you want. Thanks for helping me co-host, man. Yeah, I'm not going to do this. I'll probably do this another hour or so. But yeah, if you can just help me bring people up, just anybody who wants to come up can come up. And you're allowed to say whatever you want, positive, negative. The goal of this space is not to reach people that believe in Safemoon and try to convince them not to believe. That's why I put a warning FUD topics on so that they can say, oh, I don't want to go into that space because they're talking about possible negative things. But regardless of that, if you want to come up and say something, as long as you're respectful, you can come up, say whatever you want. My main goal is to get an idea from the community, from the investors, how much is okay, how much should John make a year, and at what point does it, to you as an investor, become problematic? Saying, oh, he's making 2 million, that's too much. 5 million, too much, or do you not care? You say he can make whatever he wants, it's his company. So yeah. I think we got Louis.
Hey, what's up? Thanks for having me. Well, I think it's. I would say, okay, take your 100,000, take your 8,000s, 9,000s a month. Appreciate it if you do your work, But I started pretty late into crypto, so I'm a newbie, that's so called, but. And got a little bit too emotional about this project because we all know how it is. But in the end, I think there's nothing where I can say I stand behind Safemoon because unfortunately it has been changed from me because I don't understand how someone can. I mean, he doesn't have to go to Twitter and tweet about the problems he has right now, but what's this so-called log he just invented where he's writing stuff down for the investors? He could explain anything, but no one, like, there's so much people who are yeah, you get called as a fodder whenever you ask something. I liked your last video. I was on YouTube and I saw it, by the way, 7 hours. I was like, what the F? 7 hours? But then it caught me and I was listening to everything. And you said it's like a toxic relationship. People who are in toxic relationships, they don't see the reality anymore, And it's the same with Safemoon. So many people became really emotional about it and call you a fodder whenever you ask, hey, what is going on? Why is they have an answer for everything, So and for me, no, you cannot take 17 or 15 or 10 million out of the liquidity pool and just buy yourself so much luxury stuff where the investors who invested in it because they wanted to support it and make money out of it, were just left behind. And yeah, so I don't know what I can do, what I can say more about Safemoon. It's just, unfortunately, I've changed my opinion, unfortunately, and I hope to change my opinion again to that we could moon, because there's still possibility. But even, sorry, I want to mention that, like, what is that? His brother, who's whatever, how old is he? 22, 23? He made a post in Twitter. That's the last thing I saw, that he's leaving Safemoon because he wants to go back to university. They call Safemoon always as the evolution, bro. What the fuck? If it's the evolution, you don't leave a company, It's like Steve Jobs telling, "Hey, I quit Apple because I want to go to university." If you're so, yeah, I mean, they believed in the project, and everyone left, and you have to open your eyes and question things, without, yeah, with being respectful and stuff like that, as you say. But questioning is not funning, and this is why I appreciate being in this space and listening to people, yeah, without getting called a futter. So I talk too much. Sorry for that.
No, you're fine, man. I really like having a space, and I think I forget how valuable these are to some people who want to be able to go say how they feel without being shut down. And we want a reasonable, balanced perspective. We don't want to be taking it too negatively to paint it in such a bad picture that it looks terrible so that people are selling. Because, like we said, and that's kind of what I would ask you, is I think a lot of us have invested in things that our belief in it is not tied to the morality of the team. I mean, it is in the sense that we might think that they're not going to screw us over and steal from us. But even a lot of projects, like, would you invest in something that you knew the team was morally wrong, but you knew that it was gonna, you knew that you could make money off of it? And I think a lot of people have a different answer to that. I think a lot of people would say, well, yeah, if I can make money off of it, it's crypto, and we're gambling. So they might not even care if it comes to Safemoon. They'd be like, oh yeah, John did all those things, but my faith was never in John. My faith was in the future of Safemoon. But even then, and I'm sorry because I'm ranting now, how do you separate the future of Safemoon from John when the future of Safemoon is 100% determined by John? It's his vision of Safemoon. He decides what is spent, what's done. The wind turbines was his decision. Project Phoenix was his decision, and how the exchange works is going to be his decision. Ultimately, he has the say on what has the impact, the final impact on whether or not the price will go up. So would you say anything to that, Louis?
You know, one thing I had in my mind, I'm really sorry, I have to mention that, is, you know, I know some even really, really big, huge, how do you call it, CEOs, you know, and well, I don't know Elon Musk, but look at Elon Musk. What a nerd he is, you know. He's sleeping in his factories, and he's all about inventing and changing the world and doing something, you know. And this is a guy where you believe, hey, he's fighting for something. But I have the feeling of this guy, John Caroni. He's just a really young guy who just got a lot of money right now and has to spend it his way, you know. But there's so much. I mean, I don't know. There's another guy I knew. I know he's a CEO of something, and yeah, I just want. He's actually one of the biggest. Anyways, yeah, fitness studios worldwide, and bro, in the beginning, he was sleeping in his fitness studio, you know, in the office. And this is what's called passion, because you want to bring a project, because you have, you know, how much you're going to earn later and stuff. Like if he didn't take the money off, let's say he did it. I don't know if he did it, but yeah, I think he did it. Let's say it is, and I hope I'm wrong, but let's say he did it. This is so wrong, man. I mean, make more people rich, bring the project to life. You know, sorry for my bad English. Let it live, the project, and let people get their reflections and everything, how it was planned, and then take whatever you want. Nobody will give a shit, but right now everyone is 90% down, 95% down, and everyone is watching the space and listening and looking, and John Caroni is there posing with his luxury good. I think I don't see him as a visionary. How do you say that? I don't know. I like he's not like Steve Jobs. That's all I want to say. He's just someone probably who's behind the money, and that's also okay. But behave yourself like a transparent guy, where people who are even fudding, you shouldn't be. You're not afraid of FUD if your project is legit, you know, or if you don't do any shit. So I just expected, and this is the World Wide Web. Anyone can speak like I am right now, but there's so many. I don't want to. Yeah, it's like when you were with Moonmark, people start yelling, being emotional without thinking, just being emotional, you know. And yeah, I think this is again a great space to share each other's opinions and listen to the other one.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I think that, my perspective is John very vaguely and generally describes Operation Phoenix and the future of SafeMoon. We are the evolution, what we're doing. And if you ever watch his interviews and stuff, he'll describe what the goal is, like return on impact. And to his benefit, like I'll try to make an argument for John. I think that, unless we're all wrong about crypto, I think we all lean towards thinking that crypto is the future in blockchain technology and smart contracts. And if you can implement that, be some of the first people to implement that in a real way that helps people, then yeah, I think that could be a huge move. And when he talks about it, and he talks about mesh networks and Web3 and tracking everything from agriculture and stuff like that on a blockchain instead of on a computer, It's interesting, and I think that there is potential there, but I don't think we're seeing, unless I'm wrong, and anybody can come up and speak, a very clear picture of what that is and how realistic that might be in raising the price of SafeMoon. As an investor, we didn't buy SafeMoon to support. And people, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but when people bought SafeMoon, they didn't buy, I don't think, with the idea that the team is going to, that they were going to be supporting um, a team that was going to be doing projects that weren't designed to make the price go up. I think everybody, when they bought, it was with the hopes of obviously making money off of it because they thought they were buying into something where the price would go up. And we all bought it much different times. You know, buying in the different early Safeman was much different than buying in the later Safeman. It has changed into something else. Um, but I also think that unfortunately, if we look at, and we talked about this, Operation Phoenix, what that probably was, speculating, because John's family owns Barajali Group, which is already aimed at helping in the Gambia, development in the Gambia, which they also connected to the Mormon Church, and the Mormon Church is already connected to that as well. It seemed like John was doing nothing wrong, what we would all do in his situation, taking what resources he had, connections he had, and trying to connect it to SafeMoon. And I think that that's why the Gambia. When we talk about why the Gambia, John said, well, it's a huge place for development in crypto. And I think that that probably was true, but it's also like probably more so that you already had connections there through the Barajali Group, through your mom. Um, and it unfortunately appears that because when John went from the birthday month down to the Gambia, and I think we were all expecting like John to get shot off in a rocket into the sky or something, you know, something huge to happen for the birthday. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we got radio silence. It was silent. And then months later, we saw a captain's log of John saying, hey, although the Gambia, we are now looking at different things. And we're no longer, we're doing it through our own connections, basically. And it was just almost like a breakup letter, like, hey, things are, what we had going there is not going there in the same way anymore. And that was evident through John's uncle, who was on the Barajali group, Charles, who left Safeman to join the Barajali group. John's uncle posted things of Project Phoenix dying and kind of says you're in for a shock for what you see going on behind the scenes. People could question his motives in that, but the Barajali group also put out a post saying, we are not affiliated or associated with anything. And we just see that the Barajali group, which is John's mom, separating itself from SafeMoon, and obviously it would probably be because the lawsuits, and they don't want to get caught up because they're afraid that it could have an impact on what they're doing because their goal is to actually help development within the Gambia. So it seems like, and I'm sorry for ranting for so long, that something that was possibly supposed to be a huge part of integrating SafeMoon has been lost, and that the connections of it have been lost. It does not mean, in my opinion, that John might not be, I hope, learning from what we're doing, or at least everything that we're doing with wind turbines and one isn't being completely scrapped, and that we're having to start all over with a new idea. Um, you know, hopefully it's just a moving around or a going to new connections and keeping and continuing what we're doing, if it's worth even doing. Is it going to be profitable to investors? If not, you shouldn't do it. When you talk about you bleed SafeMoon, it's, to me, it's like, do you really bleed SafeMoon? And what is SafeMoon? It's a community of people who have got your back, who donated $1 million for the exchange, who defend you nonstop, who are putting out positive content. I put out videos telling people about how great the team is and what they're aiming to do. We've all put a lot of effort into it. And if you're really bleeding it, then you'll be on the front lines with us, suffering with us, or at least spending the money in a way that actually directly benefits us. This is just my speculation. We see other teams talking about taking profit from utilities and doing buyback and burn. We see that with exchange listings. You can literally get it listed on an exchange. Any project can do this. Get listed on an exchange. Say, hey, 5% of that volume, that's going towards buyback and burn. It's going to save up, and we're going to use it, and we're going to see green candles. And because our token's deflationary, we're going to burn through our supply. It's going to permanently increase everybody's rewards, and we're going to consistently do this. And what that would do, in my mind, was hopefully change whales from trying to exit and hoping for exit liquidity from people buying the dips to, hey, they're doing buyback and burn, and this might actually go up. Because once you convince whales that the price actually might go up, then they might stop trying to get out and buying back in at earlier prices. So I don't know. I'd be convinced that that John, and this is just my opinion, that John bled Safemoon if we would have seen like $1 million or something for the birthday be used for the buyback and burn or something like that. Like give the money to the investors. That's just my opinion. Do we have someone who's next now?
Yeah, Gian has had his hand up. I mean, there's Star Trek too, Michael.
Yeah, I can go. I just wanted to pose something to you. So you make some good points. My only issue is that so Safemoon was a fair launch, right? John was entitled to buy tokens with his own money. Is that correct? Right. So he's probably one of the biggest whales in SafeMoon, right? Through his own investment. So yeah, you can speculate that the liquidity pool was used, but you don't actually know that. Even if he did buy a big house, it's highly likely that comes from his personal wallet that you don't know the identity of, right? So I watched a video that you done Crypto Control probably about 6 to 9 months ago with SafeMoon Whale, and he was talking about how he was making 15,000 a day in reflections alone. That was when the trading volume was about 500 million at the sort of peak. And now John would highly likely had a bigger bag than him at the time, so he would have been making, passively a large chunk in reflections alone. I'm just wondering if you're factoring that into any, money that you're counting or any houses that have been bought. I'm not saying there isn't any wrongdoing because I don't know just as much as you don't know. So I'm just curious, like having done that video with Safemoon Whale and having that knowledge at hand, even with the low volumes, you would still be earning quite a bit. Yeah.
So I don't think we have evidence of that. I thought that they had a team wallet and it wasn't that much, and they said it's not that much to develop our funds. So if you guys could come together and donate for the exchange, that would be millions of dollars. So I don't think he had that much. I could be wrong. I can look further into that, but they literally talked about their team wallets. As far as what you're talking about, and it's just my opinion, that would be even worse because they don't just get reflections, they would have to sell them. And that would mean that while we're pumping a wallet that doesn't come out, an exchange that doesn't come out, a blockchain that doesn't come out, that they would also had to have been selling during those times. That would be basically pumping and dumping on your own project. That would be even worse, or just as bad, I guess, in my perspective.
So John's not allowed to sell any reflections, is what you're saying, because personally, we're all in it for, Safemoon has that sort of key selling point where the reflections is the passive income. I wouldn't have an issue personally with, if
Oh, yeah. If you don't, that's fine.
Sure.
I personally think that if you owned a project and you told people that a wallet was coming out, an exchange was coming out, you were talking about owls, and that's got people speculating on mesh networks and how big the project is going to be, and you got people buying the dips, and you're selling while the price is going down. While saying all those things that don't happen, I personally see a huge moral problem there. Like for one, it's very easy to see when YouTubers do it. Oh, you pumped something and sold on us. Like we saw that with Ben Phillips. He was pumping SafeMoon saying, "Oh man, these damn bastards selling on us. I can't believe it." And it was like him, which is it's hilarious in one sense and just what an absolute jackass in another. But if it's your project and your vision, then why are you selling on your own investors? And everything you're putting out is basically a convincing them that big things are happening, that they need to buy and load up. I know that they don't say like, oh, you guys need to buy and load up, but that's what the goal is. That's when we talk about the Gambia and Project Phoenix, is we're talking about these huge things that give people a ton of hope that make them decide to buy into your investment. And I don't know. I think that if that was the case, and I think that we're just missing information on this. I don't think it was. I could be wrong, but if that was the case, that you would be like super transparent about something like that, being responsible for the price going down in a large way while talking about things that didn't happen, unfortunately. But that's just my opinion. If you want, you can respond to that, and then we can go to the next speaker.
Yeah, just to quickly respond to that. You're assuming that nothing's coming down the line. So I pose one last question to you. So, say an exchange comes in the next few months, and a blockchain. Does that change your opinion on all that?
Well, no, because if John is dumping on his investors, like to me, that's just wrong in general. Um, I think they did talk about in the beginning. I've been going through and watching their old AMAs, and they talk about, guys, we are selling something. We do have a bag, but it's not enough to cover what we're doing. So if you guys could donate $1 million for the exchange, that'd be great. They didn't say it that way, but they would say, we'd hate to ask, but if you guys want to, you can donate for the exchange so that we can get that going. Um, so they, at that point, which was a pretty high point, they were saying, now if John had a personal bag that he was selling off on his investors, I think most people in this room would say like, yo, that's not cool. So yeah, but we'll go to the next people. You and me can probably go back and forth on that, but we'll go to the next person. Do you know who it is now?
I think Star Trek.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, for one,
Oh, yeah, hold on, Jimmy, hold on.
yeah.
Are you being serious today?
Do I know you, sir?
Are you going to be serious today, bro?
No.
Because last time you were like, all right, let me go. Uh, uh, uh. Just go ahead and do your thing, Jimmy. Go ahead, bro.
So, I've been a Safemoon soldier now for almost 1 year, and I've gotten wounded by the words of the community. I have been hurt by a truck, and I was in a cannon shot out into the atmosphere where safe mooners really are. They're on the moon. They're on the moon. And one day a piano fell on my head, gave me 82 concussions, one for each key. And I realized at that point that safe moon is the only answer. When I lost all my money, started doing crack, started giving, for money.
Come on, cut him off.
Well, look, man, I'm just talking about my safe moon journey, okay? I realized at that point that I needed to be part of the community.
Jimmy, how do you feel about John's wallets?
Like, it's a very large wallet.
Okay, that's it. I think it was 4 million in one of them.
No, I'm referring to the
All right,
physical
Jimmy, I'll
size.
get.
When I looked at him one day in a conference, he did have a wallet that was quite bulging. It was a bulging wallet.
Okay, Jimmy, I appreciate that. Okay, who is next now? Do you remember? Thank you for helping me too, man. I really appreciate that.
Hey, Crypto Control. It's Star Trek. Just want to say, honored to talk to you. I've been a long time follower. I got into Safemoon mid-March, so I got in way before most others. Day one on Evergrow, and so I've been following this journey very closely. I've got a million things to say at the topic, but I don't want to take up all day doing that. But I mean, I used to run my own business, so I have over a dozen years as a small business owner. I get all this a little bit too close to home, and I will say that what's happening now with John, and I know you don't like to compare John to Sam and Evergrow, but that's just like a perfect comparison of transparency versus what's happening right now. And
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to mute you. I was going to say the only reason I don't like, well, there's a couple reasons I don't want to compare it, and it's because I don't want it to look like I'm attacking Safemoon to grow something else. And secondly, it's because I don't want to look that way and hurt that thing that I care about, whether it be, Evergrow. I love Evergrow and I love Sam. And you know what? When you do compare, it doesn't look good. The amount of transparency, the amount of willingness to give back to the holders, but it might have a negative impact on Evergrow from people who lose their minds and attack it because we're pumping it in a space. And we just did that, but I really prefer if we don't do that in these spaces. We can talk about Sam and an Evergrow space, but I'd rather, and I love the guy more than anybody. I really have a lot of respect for him. I just don't, I don't want the space to become like, look at how bad this is and look at how good this is. So if you just leave the names out and then you could talk about like what the difference is fine, but it's too late now. We've already done that. but go ahead, man.
Yeah, no, I apologize for that. I just wanted to make the point, and I was actually going to get to the broader point of it, was that there's more questions than answers right now with John and the team. And obviously, the Fund Hound comes in and, Ryan does his job. He does a very good job. And now obviously he's left. And, I listened to the entire, interview that Coffee had with Papa. I've listened to pretty much everything you've done with these long, rants and going 6-7 hours. So I'm very well up to date on everything happening. And I'm right with you. This needs to be investigated. We need answers. And I'm on the fence with you too. I had a pretty sizable bag of Safemoon at one point. I have sold everything and I've put it into other projects. I actually made a profit on Safemoon. And just like you, I'm looking at it. Do I reinvest into it? Is it going to keep going up, or are we just, in a sinking ship here? So, I'm with you 100%. I want these questions answered. I'm just like you. I'm not telling people to buy. I'm not telling people to sell. I just want to know what the facts are, and I want to see some progress. If Safemoon starts delivering, that's a great reason to get back into it. I mean, you could talk about the lawsuit, and obviously we just had, I guess some documents or the court case just started. And I'll tell you from personal experience, I've been sued. Nothing goes quick in the courts. This could be many, many, many years before we get anything, if ever, because most cases, usually they'll try to settle out of court, and then they have NDAs, meaning they can't talk about it. So as long as, you look at XRP, they've been in, litigation forever. It looks like they're going to win, but, XRP never went away. They're still growing, and people are still saying invest in them. So, like I said, I could go on and on for, hours on this topic with you on, talking about what John should earn and what, financial advice and, or I should say not financial advice, but just investing and, to your other point, what should John earn? I think it should be very simply, he should be earning based on what the project comes out with. So I have a big problem with him making 6, 7, 8 figures and deliver nothing but a wallet and a DEX. Okay, and I'm sorry, that's garbage. And I can also say, what's like you were asking about your own token. What's the motivation beyond just getting rich? And I would really press anyone listening to this, really look into the really rich and famous people out there that are the easiest to track, the ones that have written books and they talk publicly. Why is Elon Musk, of all people, richest person in the world, buying Twitter? Okay, he has a passion. He doesn't need to do anything. He's set for life. He could sit on his ass and watch TV the rest of his life. But it's that motivation and that drive. And the more that you study, people that are highly successful, they have a desire that's way beyond money. Okay, whether it's doing something for somebody else, charity, their family, or they just want to be successful, change the world like Eon is. And so there has to be something more. And at the end of the day, when you start looking at, a wonderful book I would suggest anyone read is called The Magic of Thinking Big. And this came out many years ago, but the whole point of it is it's talking about goal setting and looking, what's that drive? What's going to get you up in the morning? And if it's just financial, motivation, once you hit a comfortable level, just like you said, the drive goes away. It's got to be something more. And that's why every successful person always writes down and defines their goals and their dreams. Okay? The difference between a dream and a goal is a goal has a date. That's the simple definition of it all. But as soon as you understand those, and then you start diving a little deeper into what actually drives you and motivates you. Okay? Maybe it's fear of, paying your bills, or maybe it's fear of, just anything in life that could be, whether it's your reputation or whether it's, do people see you as a good father or a good mother, or, whatever it is that's driving you, that ultimately is what's going to guide your journey. And, obviously I'm a Star Trek guy, but I also love Star Wars. And one of the most important quotes was from episode 1, where Qui-Gon looks at, Anakin and he says, your focus will determine your reality. And that was one of the most powerful things in that movie, because that's exactly what's going to guide each and every one of us. So when you have, and this is what they always start dream building with, they say if time and money is no longer an issue in your life, what do you want to do? Where do you want to go? And it's as simple as that. So I don't know if you have any responses to that. I know I kind of rambled, but any follow-up questions?
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. And it's, for one, it's just a really interesting thing to think about for yourself as a human being and what you want to do with your life, like what drives you. And unfortunately, what drives most of us is like we feel enslaved to jobs that we don't like a lot of the time. Um, and I think there's a drive to get out of that. But it's a great question. Like, what would your drive be if you got out of that? What would you do with your life? What's important and where would you spend your time? And for a lot of people, it's on themselves. They just want to, be rich and have a good time. And that's kind of like money and fame. And, I know what I want to do, but I have to make money. So, but it is great to look at when we're looking at the future of Safemoon. It is determined by John, and his drive and his decisions shape the future of Safemoon and whether or not it'll be successful or not. So if there's one thing that you want to look at, it's John and what he's doing, how he's treated the project, and his vision for the future of the project. The lawsuits are interesting because I think from what I've heard, and I could be wrong, so I'm not good at this stuff, is that it's more than likely it'll be settled, right, out of court or whatever. They'll just come to an agreement and they'll pay him off, and we won't hear anything about it. I personally feel that unless the court pushes things to where things have to be made public as far as what they spent, I feel like if that doesn't happen, that we're not going to know unless or if the entire army turned and said, John, we to know what you did with that money and how much you spent, which obviously that's not going to happen. So I tend to lean towards most likely what will happen is that we won't have clear answers, and we'll just have to wait and see what happens and whether or not you believe that what they're creating as far as the exchange and blockchain is enough to raise the price, or if any new developments happen that appear realistic. Because it's easy to dream big, but it's hard to do it realistically. And I have a family member who I love, and man, he is a dreamer. He dreams so big on everything he does, but he doesn't do it realistically. And you have to do it realistically. You have to think, what will this actually make this succeed and successful? And John has the hardest job of anybody. It's to take uh, 1 million holders, 300,000 holders, whatever we're at, 600,000, and to make something successful enough to make them happy with your project. Like, to me, in my mind, creating a utility is the hardest part of a crypto project. And other than that, it just becomes a pyramid scheme where you need more people to get in so that the early people make money. And it's a serious problem in the space. But yeah, if you wanted, you could say something to that real quick, but we should probably yeah, you go ahead and respond real fast, and then we'll get to the next hands.
Yeah, no problem. I was just going to say, other YouTubers have also brought up this point where we're essentially, tax-based tokens are essentially Ponzinomics, where, it's right there in the definition. If you don't have new blood coming in, there's no one really to, pass the buck around, because it just kind of stops and goes down to zero. And the utility is the defining factor. And, I know I've commented on some of your other videos about another project I'm involved with, and I just would want your perspective on it. That's why I kept, mentioning it. But the whole point is, that project has utility and more coming out. And that's been the question, is what's going to drive all of these tax-based tokens? It's great if you can get staking rewards, but that requires new money. Okay, well, what else are you going to come out with? Everyone has a DEX now. Everyone has a wallet. Those don't really drive that much in volume or any utility. So what is it that's going to be that secret sauce?
For Safemoon or in general? So my perspective on this, and I'm sure since you have followed me, I think you know how I feel, which is that it's a successful company or business, and the profits tied to the holders. So, if it's a good NFT marketplace, that's not just another random NFT marketplace that generates profits, the profits go right to the holders. and on a large scale. Like if we are funding a companies or businesses that are making large profits with our buys from the taxes, then the profits of those companies should come back to us, I think, on a large scale. So for me, what makes a rewards token possibly work, and it's just my opinion, I could be totally wrong, is exactly that. It's real utility with and not just like a couple of guys trying to come together with promises to make money off of people who are getting in hoping to make money. Like somebody has a, like you were talking about, has a real vision, a real desire, and something unique that's going to be either, that people either want or need in this space on a large scale that's going to be used, or even just enough to bring enough profit in that gets poured back into buy back and burn. I mean, you buy back and burn deflationary tokens, and big things happen. Like the lower the price, the bigger the burn. The bigger the burn, the more rewards. Permanently increases everybody's rewards who buy, and it puts green candles on the chart. And if it's happening consistently on a consistent basis, then investors have to decide, do they want to sell, or do they want to miss out on the chance of even more profit coming back into their own project with a buyback and burn? So in my mind, like that is a huge way to make a rewards token, like not just a Ponzi scheme. Oh, okay. Sorry, I was about to keep the conversation going, but we really got to be fair to the other people and go to the next person. Do you know who is next now?
We got Champion, Bran, and Rar. Whichever of them want to speak first.
Hey, Crypto. How's it going?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, so yeah, I've spoken to you with DMs. I'm Champa's son, in case you're wondering. Can you hear me?
What was the question? I'm sorry.
Oh, I've spoken to you in DMs before.
Oh, okay. Sorry,
yeah,
I might remember if you told me what it was.
Champa's son?
Or what we talked about, I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, I was sending you a lot of stuff from the Papa video about what the LP fees were actually used for and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, so I want to discuss specifically the wallets that you're calling John's wallets, just to see what you think about my thoughts on those. So,
yeah, go ahead, man. Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, so the Devil wallet is the one that has the NFTs, right?
It bought the NFTs, and then it ended up it ended up in another wallet. Yeah.
Yeah, the one particular Moondog named Captain Hodl.
Yeah.
Ended up in the wallet with
South by Southwest.
It seems like the John Southwest, right? Okay. So I wanted to ask you if you ever looked into the other NFTs that were in that wallet and what your thoughts were on those.
What were they called?
There were 4 Moondogs in that wallet, and there are 2 YAT.
Yeah, I did see those. YAT or whatever. I didn't even know what that was, but I did see it.
Yeah. So I did go and look in those further, just because that's one thing that no one ever brought up. They brought up specifically the Captain Hodl one, where John's tweet said, I named him Captain Hodl, as we're all aware. But I was curious, like, what the other 3 Moondogs were specifically. It's just a question on my mind. I actually think I had that because someone on your call on Saturday was saying, what if those NFTs weren't personal purchases? What if those were NFTs that were purchased for testing NFT integration on the wallet, which we know was in progress at the time, and we know it did in fact come later. So I mean, it's pretty clear cut that the Captain Hodl one is a representation of John Caroni. It's a dog with a captain's hat and has green laser eyes. Like it's pretty obvious it was bought intentionally because it resembled him. So my thoughts on that was, what are the other Moondogs? Could they possibly represent other team members? And just you can go and look at it. I can share links with you in Discord later, just so you can take a look at them yourself.
But I did see it, yeah.
Yeah, so I looked at the other 3. One was clearly like, it was in camouflage. It had a hat. It had like a eye patch. It was an army dog. It was clearly like kind of a general style one. So, this is all speculation here. But that was one of them. There was it's not speculation what that was. It's a dog that looks like a general. There's another one that was wearing a black t-shirt. And then there was another one that was just wearing like basically some business attire, like a collar and a tie. So My thoughts were, what if what was purchased wasn't specifically just for John? What if it was purchased kind of in a cheeky way, but if it was purchased as NFTs that were used to integrate and do testing on the Safemoon wallet? As we know, they were working on that, and they would need NFTs to be able to test that. They couldn't do that without NFTs. So it's possible somebody just owns some of their personal ones and they want to just donate them, or it's possible that the company would need to actually purchase some in order to test. But
so you're saying, what if it's possibly a company wallet?
Correct, or at least the purposes of the NFTs themselves. But
because I think at that point you'd have to look at all the other transactions and see if it being used as a company wallet or is it being used as like a personal wallet.
Yeah, there are a lot of transactions to look at for sure. But just some fun things I think with that. My wild speculation is that the general is Ryan, since he literally called himself the general as a representation. He was the core team member at the time. And then Ben Phillips, who obviously was the one who suggested the Moondogs, as was pointed out by Coffee to everyone. There's one with a black T-shirt, and I just recall him wearing black T-shirts a lot. I actually looked up pictures of him a lot just to see, and pretty often, a lot of the times, I see Ben Phillips wearing a black T-shirt. And then Ben Phillips is close to Jack. Jack's the COO. The business attire, he was always the one who's more professional, more dressed up. So just my wild speculation there on that. Maybe someone, if they were in fact purchasing NFTs to test on the wallet, they bought this for Moondogs because Ben Phillips is the one, mentioning them. Hey, maybe you should buy these since we need to test NFTs anyway. And whoever bought them was buying them just to test on the wallet. But they did it kind of in a cute way. They chose team members at the time to represent as they purchased them. So that's just one thought I have on that. And then if you look at the other two, I believe they're YAT. Those also are representative of Safemoon, in my opinion. Like the one of them is a hand, a dime, and a hand. We all know that emoji is diamond hands. Then behind it, there's like a swirling cloud of green gems, like aqua green gems, similar to Safemoon color. Which, in my opinion, they bought that and is representative of emerald hands. So the purpose of that NFT, I mean, not the purpose of it, but that NFT was purchased because it was yet another representation of Safemoon. The second YAT was a moon, a rocket ship, and a moon, which our logo is literally a moon with a rocket ship. For a very long time, people have been doing a rocket and moon as our representative emojis. And then also behind that, there's like a handout line that keeps kind of flying over the screen, and that's kind of in the Safemoon green as well. So when I looked at those two, I also saw representations that were for Safemoon, not necessarily like someone who's personally investing in NFTs and hoping to make a big buck in the future. It looked like someone was kind of being fun with making some purchases on some NFTs. That's why I wanted to look in more than just Captain Hodl, because the Captain Hodl one, sure, maybe that's John just buying himself one for himself for fun. But why would he necessarily want to buy the other team members just for himself? Like, that's not a good investment. That's just a fun little representation. And then the other two, which are those emojis, like I said, they just simply represent Safemoon. Will they be worth anything in the future? Probably not. But it's a fun little representation of Safemoon. So if you're going to be buying 5 or 6 or so NFTs to test, I think if that was the case, I can't be sure. We can't be sure on that. But I think it could be that someone went ahead and bought those just as fun representations for the team, since they needed NFTs to test integration anyway. And I hope you can agree with me that they would have needed NFTs in order to test NFT integration on the wallet.
Well, the thing I see is like, who controls the funds of Safemoon? So whether it's a personal wallet or whether it's a company wallet, he's controlling the funds. And in my perspective, whether it was either one, it was John, right? And millions of dollars go through that to the Kraken that cash out. And the problem's not necessarily
But I just wanted to talk about the NFT portion for the moment before getting to that.
Yeah, I don't see it changing anything. Like, if it's Safemoon, then it's still John. Is my thing.
Do you think it could change things? Because you said it was his personal wallet, 666. You said that on the or the double wallet was his personal wallet on the Spaces on Saturday. I listened in after the fact on a long drive. But you said, I believe multiple times, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you were basically declaring because he and everyone's going back and forth about the wording.
Yeah,
the way
it
he said
it
He said, you
heavily
you
points
were
to
saying,
him controlling that wallet, and he said,
but,
"I'm going to
okay,
move him to the Safemoon wallet." So you could speculate that maybe it was a team, but even that team would be controlled by Safemoon. And the argument then would be like, okay, is it a personal or is it a company? And you're still left with the same problem that millions of dollars went somewhere that came from the 5%, and what was it used for? So it doesn't really change anything. And I see your speculation, and it's possible, but in my mind, it's like, okay, either John's personal wallet that he held his Moondog on, that he named Captain Hoddle, that he said he was going to move to the SafeMoon wallet was actually his personal wallet, or it was a company wallet where people were doing what he told them to do. And either way, the money's still there and the problem's still there. So I don't see really anything changing with that.
but I'm just wondering if you think 666 points less likely to be a personal wallet of John's, as that particular NFT, which could have been bought for testing to represent him, ultimately did make it into a wallet, does even more so appear to be a personal wallet based on the way it is, based on the fact that it got the South by Southwest and ultimately did get the Captain Hodl NFT. But
Yeah, I
if I
think
could
that
just leave
wallet, I'd have to pull it up right now. I think it wasn't acting like a company wallet. It was like buying all kinds. It had like, I think Sheeb in it. It had like
it
all
bought a
these
little
different
bit of
parts.
Sheeb. It did buy a little bit of Sheeb, which did end up on SafeMoon. I don't know if it was bought before August 28th. Again, it could have been for testing purposes. Potentially, we don't know. But SafeMoon wallet, or not SafeMoon wallet, SafeMoon swap. So one of the first things it listed with was Shiba Inu. So it's that could have been and actually whoever bought it, good job. When I think they spent 10K on it and now it's worth 30K. Cool.
Yeah, I'll look at
But
it more and with someone smarter to say, hey, does this look more like personal activity or does this look like company activity?
sure.
But I still feel like it just doesn't change anything as far as
Okay.
like the problems, you know what I mean?
Sure. But okay. If you don't, I want to read out the tweet
Go
real
ahead.
quick
Go ahead.
just
Yeah.
to go over. So John Crony tweeted, I named him Captain Hodl. I like NFTs. Looking forward to moving him over to the SafeMoon wallet. What are your favorite NFTs? So again, that could be him saying, yes, I bought this for myself personally, but it could also be, I'm looking forward to getting this NFT on the SafeMoon wallet, as in it wasn't, like the wallet wasn't out yet and NFT support was being built out. So again, it kind of seems to me that it could mean not that he was buying it for himself, but that it was purchased either with his own hands because he controls that and it could be a company wallet, or someone else controlled it and it's a company wallet. But it was bought and it was a representation of him, and it was bought, I think, and I'm leaning towards heavily that it was bought to test NFTs integration on the SafeMoon wallet, especially since when he bought it, he said specifically looking forward to moving it over to the SafeMoon wallet. So that's just another thing with the NFT that makes me point even more so towards these were bought as company assets in order to test a wallet that was going to be integrating NFTs into it. He even told us the moment he bought, or the moment it was purchased for the 666 wallet, that it was going to be something that would be on the SafeMoon wallet, which it was not released yet, and NFT support was being worked on at the time. So I think that is potentially another big indication for me that was purchased.
Yeah. I mean,
As a company asset.
I don't lean that way. I lean towards thinking like, that's the thing with a lot of speculation. It's like detective cases and detective work. You might not have what seems to be 100% likely thing,
Of
but
course,
you
yeah.
still have like
100%.
over a lot of things that heavily point towards it. In my perspective, it heavily points towards just being John's wallet. But even if it was a company that's owned by him and controlled by him, so either way, it's his wallet no matter. And
So
you could get into the what ifs of that, but it just, like I said, it doesn't change anything else unless you could provide a context because the problem is not that it's really John's wallet or not. The problem is that millions of Tether or whatever went to those wallets and went to the Gabe wallet and
I
went
have a
between those wallets and then went to the same Kraken account, like 19 million. And the problem is that millions of dollars are being spent. And that's just kind of like that. In my perspective, that's where the problem's at. So, and another thing that I just throwing this out there, I'm not saying you're doing this because you're being really open and really respectful, but a lot of people, like, their goal is to shift blame from John, and that's how they approach every piece of information. And I'm not saying you're doing that, but I do tend to lean towards that. If you didn't have a bias towards it, that you would probably lean more towards this being his personal wallet than you would towards that. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, so
You could say
I'm not
something
trying to
really
shift
quick to
blame.
that. You can
Yeah, I'm
say
not trying to
something really quick to that, and then we gotta go to the next person.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm not trying to shift blame off John. I'm saying that I don't know that there is blame to be had in general. Potentially, like there's so many. I could go over this for an hour with you. So I really mostly wanted to just dive in. And then T part, so something new. I'd love to get on and talk more in future space because you're trying to be shorter. Like I had, like for example, the Gabe wallet. If you look at what first funded that, I would recommend going into the Binance Smart Chain version of the Gabe wallet and look at what gave it its first, I'd say seeded it with its first BNB to pay for gas. If you look at that wallet, and I looked at that a couple of days ago, because I kept seeing this wallet show up a lot, but it wasn't really connected. No one actually had it labeled. No one said what it was. But this wallet received Safemoon from Ben Phillips on April 5th, before I believe either of them officially joined Safemoon as a company. And then on April 9th, it seeded the Gabe wallet with like the origination of the Gabe wallet on the Binance Smart Chain side, at least. It's got its initial BNB from this one wallet that was given Safemoon by Ben Phillips before either Ben Phillips or Jack Haynes even joined the company. I'd also got a lot of stocks tokens sent to it directly from Ben Phillips, this wallet that seeded the Gabe wallet with BNB. It also had a ton of the it had basically everything that was announced for the Safemoon swap, like Incontinent, AquaGoat, Vanity, Trust Wallet tokens, Sushi, USDC, that's Chainlink, Baby Doge, all that kind of stuff. All the stuff they announced for the wallet, it did dabble in quite a lot, like around the swap time of the swap and leading up to it, coming out on August 28th. Also, interesting to note is the last time that the wallet that seeded the Gabe wallet did it was pretty regularly active until September 10th, which was the day that Jack Haynes left the company. So I can't say that's Jack Haynes' wallet. I cannot say that, but it's interesting that Ben Phillips sent stuff to it several times. It's interesting that it seeded the Gabe wallet initially with BNB. It's interesting that it has all the tokens pretty much that were listed on Safemoon Swap, and it was dabbling in those a lot before the swap actually went live. And
the thing about that,
it's interesting that it went dormant the day that Jack Haynes left for about a month and a half. And then another thing, it also donated a substantial amount of BNB to like that charity wallet fund that they had.
So the thing about that is that they're all off ramping to the same Kraken account, which is extremely odd unless it's owned by the same person. We know that Gabe was the Tano. Gabe was the Tano.
Yeah.
The Tano wallet. So unless other people are just deciding to send millions to the same wallet, it seems pretty indicative of being either controlled or owned by the same person. I'm open to like looking into that, but no matter what, no matter what, you're going to have that on the blockchain, which just looks like these wallets, which we know that John claimed to be part of, whether it's through the Moondog or whether it's through Gabe, millions of dollars of tether to the Kraken account. I have to let other people go. I'll let you say it real fast. I said real fast. Okay.
Hey, I don't got much time, so could I? I don't want to be rude or anything with anybody, but I really only got like 10 minutes now. And
go ahead.
One thing I want to ask you personally, Crypto Control, is what would it be? I mean, if I was John right now, and you see all this money, and I kind of understand it to an extent, and I understand why people are pissed off. For sure, most definitely. So many people have lost lots of money in Safemoon. I personally had a love-hate relationship with this thing. And I really didn't understand crypto at all when I got into Safemoon. I'll be honest with you. And I look at a lot of like past data with like a lot of other successful projects and things, but I won't get into that right now. But one thing I do want to say, though, is do you see Safemoon as a fake it till you make it? And also another question I want to ask is what would John need to say to be able to explain these things? Because honestly, I don't think there's a moral way to explain it. I really don't. And I mean, I just don't know what the standard is, though, because I invest in SafeMoon, but I just look around in Binance Smart Chain. I don't see much better projects to invest in either. So I feel like SafeMoon is one of the better ones still to this day, but it's just like, I don't know what the standard is in Binance Smart Chain. And what would you consider? That's my question. What would John Crony need to say in order to convince you that SafeMoon is still going to exist 2, 5, 10 years from now They've made mistakes. Obviously, some of them are definitely morally unethical. But how would you move forward from that?
So, just my opinion, is we need assurance that we're going to be okay through the lawsuits. He could totally, even if he, okay, so like you said, if John just did spend millions on himself, that means there is no good answer, and you could try to lie. Or maybe he has receipts and he can show like, hey guys, here's what I did, and I can prove to you that I didn't overspend on myself while you guys were doing this. Or if I did spend a lot, I can show that it didn't come from the LP. That would do it for a lot of people.
Yeah.
As far as the future of SafeMoon, it's the problem is it doesn't really change. I mean, there's two problems. One is what can bring it down, like a lawsuit or something like that, or criminal activity. And the other problem is they have to create something super real to be able to counter the weight of all these whales and investors to actually get the price to go back up. So there's two problems right there, and it's providing realistic reassurance to the legal problems, and providing a real utility in the space that'll actually lift our price up. And they have all the resources they need to make something good,
Yeah,
I
see, that's
think.
the thing. Even if we came out with our exchange and the blockchain within this year or within 2 years, I mean, if we're in a bear market, that isn't going to do anything. And I mean, I don't want to like break people's souls, but like this is probably going to stay down for a year or 2 years, more than likely. At the rate we're going, it's probably going to stay down for a while. And what I look for towards motivation when I'm dollar cost averaging in the Safemoon, I try and look for the best projects. I really do. Like, there's plenty of Binance Smart Chain projects I'm invested in, but it's just like with Safemoon personally for me, it seems like it's going to stay down for quite a while, especially during this market. And I look back towards Cardano and Ethereum, and I like to look towards Charles Hoskinson, Vitalik. I mean, back in the day, them dudes made loads of money on the first bull market. People were buying Ethereum at $1,400. People were buying in Litecoin as well. People were buying ADA at $1.10, and then ADA shortly after that went to 3 cents, and then Ethereum went to $60 or $70, and people lost loads of money while the developers were rich. I mean, it seems like there's a cycle here, and I don't think the cycle will be broken for a while, but I just feel like this is the nature of crypto. And the reason why I'm still invested in Safemoon, I still make relatively positive content. I used to be a fudder, but once I realized it's a fake it till you make it, and then I was personally overinvested by a long shot. I had way too much money and way too high expectations for what I was putting in. And one thing I want to ask too is about this house. I mean, how much is the house worth? And did he get a mortgage for it or what? Like, he didn't pay outright cash for the house, I'm assuming, right?
So I'm not going to be the one to say what I know about that, because you don't want to be the person to dox John. You don't want to say the price because that'll be easy to find, and you don't want to say how they paid because that'll narrow it down. So yeah, but multi-million-dollar is probably the only thing that anybody's really comfortable saying with out loud for people who don't want to dox that location.
So is that over 2 million that you
Yeah,
understand?
I'm assuming it's like $2-3 million then, right? I mean, it's got to be worth a lot of money. But the thing is like, if he got a mortgage for it, okay, all right, cool, whatever. But I mean, there's really no morally ethical way to explain it because Safemoon's not generating revenue. I mean, he has loads of money. I'm hoping, like, all the millions that we're seeing is for future development. But like, it's getting to the point where I'm just, I'm just invested. I'm gonna keep dollar cost averaging, and I'm gonna still believe that he's still working on the exchange and blockchain. And I don't think it's a lost hope. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's a weird place where it's like, will this make money or not? Because at the end of the day, we're all gambling with any investment. It's not like
100%.
Yeah. So it's like the reason we got in is the hopes of making more at the risk of losing it all, right? So we can go ahead and I appreciate you coming up, man. I appreciate what you said and good questions. We can go ahead and go to who's next now.
Yeah, I gotta go. I'll keep watching your videos, bro. Honestly, I don't mind when people FUD Safemoon. I really don't. Actually, I kind of like it sometimes because it does actually raise awareness to things that people don't know about, and it makes people think more, and it helps people learn too. It really does. But I gotta go. But it was good talking to you.
Yeah. Thanks for coming up.
Mad scientist, go ahead.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Doing
Sorry,
good.
I was
Got
gonna
your
talk
baby.
about right now. Yeah, sorry.
Can I speak on the Kraken thing real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I agree that it does seem like the same person controls or the same group controls those wallets because they all go to the same Kraken hot wallet. They could go to different accounts in Kraken, but there's no way to know that, and it seems unlikely. But that could also be indicative that it's owned by the team that is company wallets, and company wallets would all be sending the USDT out to the same spot, as opposed to it being a personal benefit for one person to benefit from. I think it could be either potentially.
Yeah, I just think that like John's the boss. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
John's the boss
So
for sure. He would be the one, I think, in charge of saying where that.
nobody's moving $1 million without John okaying it, right? I doubt anybody thinks that.
Yeah, absolutely. So why do you think they would move the USDT off of Bitmart onto the blockchain where we can see it before moving it over to Kraken? Do you think that was maybe to help Bitmart out a little bit because their stores of USD, if they were trying to convert to fiat, might not be as high as something on Kraken? Like, why would they not keep that on Bitmart and cash out straight to their own accounts?
So that's a good question. I am not an expert on this. I'm actually a noob. I just looked it over with some, people who are a lot smarter with me to make sure that I'm not going to go out there and say some dumbass stuff. So it is really nice when you have somebody who's an expert to speak on those things. All I know is what we've talked about regarding the picture that's being painted with the 5% from Bitmart being used, that's supposed to be given back to the developers, and we know that the developers is John and the Gabe and the 66 wallet are easily personal or company wallets controlled by John that have millions of dollars of tether. Thomas talked about OTC trade between them, which, as far as I understand, is not necessarily a transaction between Bitmart, and I could be wrong on this, but a transaction between Bitmart and the team, like sending them Safemoon, like they just agreed to an amount and then they sent them the amount of Safemoon they needed for the amount of tether, and then they kept that tether, and that's why we see the millions of dollars going to those wallets and then to the account. I guess your question is, why didn't they tell them, hey, why don't you guys just send this straight to our account? I guess it's probably because within the Bitmart contract, it says to be sent to the developers to be put into the LP. So they wouldn't send it to a bank account. They would send it to, or not a bank account, but the Kraken account. They would send it to their wallet, would be my best speculation on that.
So according to Thomas, and I know you kind of dismissed this before, but according to Thomas, I mean, there's two 5%, right? There's one for reflections, and then there's one for that should be sent, the exact wording, to be sent back to developers to be added to the LP or to added to LP or something like that. It never says the word pancakes up on there, by the way. But according to Thomas, he said that every exchange that they made a deal with, that Safemoon had a market maker account, which Safemoon controlled or John controlled or either one, and that the 5% fees for the liquidity pool or for the liquidity on those exchanges stayed basically on the exchange, and they went into the market maker account that was owned by Safemoon. And the reason you have a market maker account is to facilitate liquidity within the exchange itself. That way, if you have a large number of sells but a low number of buys, or vice versa, a large number of buys but a low number of sells, and your order book's looking kind of, it's either empty or it's kind of full in one direction but not in the other, you have a market maker that's able to kind of fill all those orders in between. So according to Thomas on the interview, and I can play some of the audio for everyone if you want.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, but according to Thomas, and you've listened to the interview, and I know a few people in here have listened to the full interview.
Let me just say this.
Yeah.
I went to Thomas before this happened. I was like, where did they get all their money from?
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, Thomas, I was just curious, because he responds to me because I'm respectful to him, even though I'm like still like, hey, I don't know what you were involved in, but I can still be respectful to you and ask you questions.
and I appreciate you answering. I'm like, where do they get all their money from? And Thomas was basically pointing towards the Bitmart deal, the market maker. The question would be at that point is, where are the millions of Tether coming from Bitmart from going into those bank accounts?
So yeah, that's so my thoughts on that. Well, first of all, you're talking about the OTC deals, right? OTC deals means SafeMoon has SafeMoon tokens. They sell it to the exchange, who buys it with USDT over the counter, meaning SafeMoon just takes that SafeMoon, they send it to a Bitmart hot wallet. Then Bitmart will send SafeMoon USDT in return. And it's going to be on Ethereum chain, blockchain, because that's where USDT lives. But I've actually found like what looks like a lot of the places where the SafeMoon team was sending over large amounts of SafeMoon tokens to Bitmart hot wallets. They'd actually send it to a wallet that I believe Bitmart controlled, because one of these wallets was previously labeled in like some old images as a Bitmart wallet. But SafeMoon would send large amounts of tokens into that wallet. That wallet would then take those tokens and they'd send them into a Bitmart hot wallet. So you can see those dates kind of corresponding with the dates that USDT started arriving in 666 and Gabe wallets. Like, for example, I believe on Fight 13, there's about 4.1 trillion SafeMoon that was sent from, I want to say, Thomas's owner wallet, potentially, or it might have been the Gabe wallet. I'd have to double check that transaction, but it's one of those wallets that's heavily involved with SafeMoon. Sent Bitmart 4.1 trillion tokens. Later that same day, I don't remember if it was the Gabe or the 666 wallet, but that started receiving millions of USDT in like very specific amounts over the next several days before it kind of paused for a while. And then if you look at the transactions into Bitmart from SafeMoon, it waited about a month, I think about June 10th or so. And I'm kind of winging this from memory, but I believe this is all fairly accurate. On June 10th, I'm pretty sure definitely this time Thomas's contract owner was the one that sent another 2 trillion to this same wallet that should in theory is owned by Bitmart, and then that was sent into a Bitmart hot wallet. Then I believe the next day, that wallet again, one of the Gabe wallet, I believe, started receiving millions of USDT. So I just see those kind of tokens moving from SafeMoon owner wallets and stuff like that over to Bitmart, and then USDT pretty much right after started coming back into wallets that are affiliated heavily with SafeMoon, either as company wallets or whatnot. So Thomas's discussion in telling us that they were sold OTC, the SafeMoon team sold SafeMoon tokens OTC to Bitmart for USDT. I just find a correlation there when you actually look at the blockchain on both ends of it. You see the SafeMoon come in, you see the USDT come out. The dates are pretty well aligned up when that happens. And Thomas also alluded to once a month, they'd need to acquire more tokens for SafeMoon buyers on Bitmart. And they need to acquire tokens to distribute for reflections also. So it seems to me that the USDT, and you can say this is all wrong or right.
No, like everything you're saying is true, but it's the problem is the 5% that was meant for the LP. That's
no.
the
So
problem.
that's the thing. That's a whole different thing. That's not purchasing tokens necessarily for market making.
Well,
it might be purchasing tokens for
here's
market
what I
making.
understand. Here's what I understand is they did the V1 migration from V1 to V2 pancake swap. They didn't migrate the SafeMoon and BNB. They migrated the BNB. They took the SafeMoon and then they did the trade with Bitmart's 10% tax that they had on all their volume so that they could get reflections. 5% was for the SafeMoon reflections and 5% was sent to the developer wallets to be added to the LP for
Did
liquidity.
it say developer wallets or did it say developer?
I think it says developers, yeah.
Yeah.
So what are you trying?
So with that again, this is all based on this. We can't see potentially, right? We can see the Bitmart go in. The SafeMoon tokens go into Bitmart from SafeMoon wallets, like SafeMoon team wallets. You can see USDT come out to Gabe 666, which Gabe has been called a Tano company wallet and John's wallet and many other things, but it has been called a Tano wallet before, which is a company wallet. But what we can't see is what happens directly inside of an exchange. So this one we kind of have to I mean, you can or not take Thomas's word for it, but what he said is that the 5% USDT fees that were meant for liquidity were returned technically in the spirit of the thing that was written. They were sent into a market making account, our market maker account that was controlled and owned by Safemoon, which provides liquidity for the exchange. So if that did happen, and that's something that we cannot see internally because that's all within the system, like that's an internal system there. But if that did happen, if the 5% liquidity fees on Bitmart were sent to a market making account or market maker account owned by Safemoon, that would have been those fees returned to developers and added to liquidity. Now, was it added to PancakeSwap liquidity? No, but was that added to, if this did happen, but that was added to a market making account, which is also known as a liquidity provider. That's another name for those. And if that's owned by Safemoon, then it was returned to the developers and added to liquidity for Bitmart.
Okay, that's
Inside
fine.
of Bitmart,
So
right?
yeah,
The local
so
token, and that's a local tokenomics situation.
hey, champion, let me
Yeah.
talk for a second. I appreciate
Sure.
it. So yeah, I mean, that's the theory, is that it's being added here and that the developers never touched that money that they talked about taking from LP. And when I asked Thomas, and I know people on the team that talked about, moving from V1 to V2 and what they're doing, that the problem is that they made way too much money on Bitmart, was what was said. So when I asked Thomas where they get all their money, and they say Bitmart Market Maker, if you're trying to say, and this is okay, but if you could hit your points just a little bit faster, I'd appreciate that. If you're trying to say that the 5% what just never went to their wallets, where are those millions of dollars coming from? And why is Thomas saying that it came from the market maker deal with Bitmart?
I'm not sure that you're completely accurate on that. He said those came from the market maker deal. He said they came from OTC token sales
No,
to Bitmart.
Yeah, so he compared, I believe, unless I'm misunderstanding, he compares those to the same thing. He says we took the leftover statement from the migrations from the V1 to the V2 because Bitmart needed tokens to do the reflections.
Correct.
Which comes from their 10% volume, which is the market maker.
Which is 5% of the 10%. And that's not that's the market maker account is there to fill orders when no one else is. So if someone wants to buy, they have the liquidity and then they have the amount of USDT and SafeMoon in that account.
And that's fine. We can speculate on this, but where are the millions of dollars coming from at that point?
So it sounded like it's USDT fees that were collected for reflections. So it is purchasing tokens to distribute for reflections, and possibly, and I'm not sure, it's a little murky. I don't think Thomas was as clear on this, but also as people bought more throughout the month, they bought SafeMoon that the exchanges didn't actually have. So they would need to acquire more SafeMoon with the USDT that was spent by the users on Bitmart. So it's potential that it's that, or it's just the reflections. I'm not sure, but I don't believe market making is related, because I believe the market making, from what I'm getting from Thomas, is strictly the 5% liquidity fees that went into the market making account. The other stuff went out to.
So I do need to understand this better, but I was talking to this about somebody is obviously way beyond me, and I was explaining to them exactly what you're saying, and then they were saying, what are they talking about? If they were going to keep it for liquidity, they wouldn't move it off of Bitmart.
Right.
So, and when they look at that, yeah, I mean, and this is a person, unfortunately, just way beyond me. I wish I was as good as them, but it should be looked into. There's nothing wrong with looking into the things. I just like, hit your points of what you think, but then it still leaves us with 19. Where did $19 million come from? It leaves us with the question that I asked Thomas, which is, where did they get all their money? And he said Bitmart deals with market makers. So it's weird to, possibly suggest that none of the money came from the market maker, but at the same time, it also did, because when I asked Thomas directly, where did they get all their money? And what I've heard with people who were on the team that said that John said that they make too much money off of Bitmart to not do it, to not do something with V2 or something, that, we have this thing where we're trying to say that the money went where it was supposed to, but at the same time, they got 19 million, where they're saying that, you know what I mean? It doesn't add up. In my perspective, it doesn't add up to try to say that that money stayed there while at the same time they're getting millions and millions of dollars, and they're also saying that that's where they get their money.
Well,
so it's not very clear.
Yeah, and I never traded on Bitmart, but I don't know if the liquidity on there was good or bad. Like if there was no strong market maker account on Bitmart, I'd assume that it would have been really complicated and difficult to trade on there. You'd have a lot of people trying to buy, and they'd be unable to buy because there weren't people willing to sell as the price is rising. So you'd have people waiting for a very long time to get their tokens. You'd have extreme slippage. You'd have a lot of price swings because you'd have a ton of buys without a bunch of sells, or vice versa if you didn't have a strong market maker account. So I never bought on there. I don't know if the liquidity was really good on there or really horrible. But I'd imagine if none of it went to a market making account, it would be very complicated to try and trade on there. The liquidity would have been really terrible if they did not
Yeah,
take some
I'll
of the core
I'll
market.
seek clarification on this because
Yeah.
a lot of people are trying, and I've seen someone else try to say like, "Oh no," and I'm not saying you're doing this, but that person was saying like it went to the market maker, and
Well,
therefore
that's
it
what
went where it's
Tom
supposed to
said.
go. And then it was
Uh,
like, okay, where did the 19 million come from? And how
so
come when I ask the team where they get all their money, they say the market maker? I mean, it doesn't make sense in my head. But I will seek clarification on that because
okay,
this does need to be clarified,
yeah,
and
for sure.
I'll clarify it in my next space or YouTube.
And it would be great if Thomas would ever join one of these specifically because he's
He
the owner
probably
of the
would.
captain. Yeah.
I'll ask him. I bet he would.
Yeah, if he could join, I think we could ask, or you could ask him like
Well,
these
he did say
questions more in
something
depth.
recently about not wanting to do live spaces because he feels like people try to trip him up. He said that on
That's true.
to coffee. So I don't know. I'll ask him and say, hey, do you
Okay.
want to come clear this up for us? Uh, I'll see what he says. But I appreciate
Okay.
you coming up, man,
Yeah,
and
thank you. Thank you.
I appreciate you looking into this stuff. Everything needs to be clarified. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Okay, now let's go to, yeah, thanks for coming, man. I'll catch you later. We can go ahead and go to who's next, and I probably won't do this too much longer, guys. I think Don't Roll was next. Was it you, Roll? Do you want to go ahead and go, man? Or don't follow me. Okay. Did you have something you wanted to say, man? And he's connecting. Okay. Okay, I'll try to give it I'll give it 12 more minutes, guys, to give that guy a chance to come back up. My main goal with this space was just to hear you guys out on what is acceptable, what's not acceptable, amount of money, how do you feel about it, and to talk about how even if what may have occurred, it might be unacceptable to you, it doesn't mean that the price might not do well one day, in my opinion. So I think those are important things to talk about, and I talked about it with my YouTube chat. I talked about it with you guys. The general consensus I'm getting from most people that are in here is that it's not okay for someone, if they were profiting off of the investors or what was intended for the investors, to be super rich while our project is down. Um, and I tend to lean towards that. I definitely think that John and the team should be paid good for being the developers on such a huge project. No matter how that project came about, I think, yeah, I mean, it'd be crazy to think that you are getting paid like nothing whenever but it depends on how you get that money, and it depends on what way. Yeah, just basically you have to be honest about how you get that money. If you said it's for LP and we might use it for development and use it for yourself, that's not an honest way to do that. And you have to consider, do you trust that person with the future developments of the project? I mean, we all have to decide that for ourselves. Go ahead, Waterville.
Oh, sorry, bro. I was actually trying to wave goodbye. I had to take off. I didn't have my hand up. But I will add one more thing that I thought that I had the answer about the house thing because there hasn't been a Caroni paying taxes in his state
Well,
for
I would appreciate. Don't say anything that could.
I won't say where,
Okay,
but
okay.
I mean,
Well, just
there
don't
had
even like point people in the right
yeah,
direction.
and my real estate friend corrected me and said if it was a brand new purchase, taxes are due next year. So that was not a good answer for that question. I thought that I had it obvious right there when I looked it up, and it's not. You wouldn't be able to look that way, is my point. It could have bought a house like in January and still not paid taxes, they told me.
Yeah, I will say this for anybody who's listening. Not only have I seen, and I'm just saying this for the people that are listening, because I assume that people in here are here for this type of information. Sure, you could say it's speculative, but not only have I seen basically the purchase on the blockchain within the time of the house being purchased, I think that's general enough that it's not a big deal. But also, I've heard from people who were there that they went there and that is the right one. So there's people saying that's not it. They're just lying. Either they're lying or people who are on the inside are lying. Um, and it's not important as like, oh, let's figure out where it is, and definitely don't do that. It's just important to know that, okay, we have solid evidence that the money was not being spent how we thought it was. And there's just, as an investor, it's just questions, So yeah, I mean, if there is anybody else that wants to come up, you're welcome up. Otherwise, I'm probably going to end this space. But I do appreciate all you guys coming in and hanging out. I appreciate you, Champion, and Now. Thank you for co-hosting. Thank you, Star Trek and Waterville. Shout out to Darren Robinson, super chill, cool guy who allows me to be a fudder. All right, guys, I will probably end it here, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. You guys have a good day. Okay, guys, I'm back. What's up? All right, let me talk to you guys for a minute before I end the stream. All right, how'd you guys feel about all that? Yeah, I feel you, LOL. Even if the money got stolen, he ain't giving it back. I'm still holding my 4 million tokens regardless. Are we using the windmills with the damn spray or not? That's pretty funny. That's a great question, man. That's a pretty funny question. Yet here you are listening, not too brilliant. Is someone complaining? Trenton Craig, are you upset, my dude? Let's see if I can. These chats are getting a little obsessive, you think. I find these chats are interesting, but every day for hours on end, you'll have to do something more useful with your time. No, I don't think so, man. People spend way longer, speculating on positive things. So, I mean, if you think it's a bad waste of time, that's fine for you to feel that way. But like somebody else said, here you are in the chat. This is what I do. I'm a YouTuber. So the company should come first and not the owner. You're responsible for everyone else who has invested. If your business is failing, then it's the owner's responsibility to make company profitable. Completely agree, Beachside. 100% in. 1 million Safemoon is like $300 right now. Very truthful. Seriously, $300. If it's true, I'll be selling my plasma tomorrow for another $1 million. Hippo TV, what's up, man? I think the pay yourself just because you are a CEO is BS. Okay. You might be right there, yeah. Say it, don't spray it. Everybody has different takes on it all. That's why I was just really trying to take in your guys' a wider perspective to help clarify my own. I know the billion I bought last April was a bad investment. Oh, that's wrong. That's a rough one, man. If you are not delivering, why should you take bonuses? Yeah, it's a weird one because it's like, okay, if you made a project that makes a ton of people money, projects decide to pay themselves. They can decide whatever they want. But I think the super important part about that is being very transparent, very clear in how you pay yourself. And I think that was not here at all, right? It's not transparent at all. And that's the problem, right? So, yeah, I really appreciate you guys. I hope you guys have a great... What is today, guys? Is it Tuesday? It's Wednesday. Okay. Yeah, I hope you guys have a great Wednesday. And I will see you guys in the next video or stream. You guys have a great day. Damn, that price is taking a real beating. We are at the all-time low right now. So even more got sold off because we went down into the 2. I can't believe this price. I'll say this, if Safemoon does end up taking off, you might be able to make a huge play here, like being one of those early investors, you know what I mean? But anyways, yeah, I meant to end the stream. Awesome hanging out with you guys. I'll catch you guys later. Oh, and real quick, huge shout out to Mitch Bromwell, amazing moderator. God bless everyone. Remember, enjoy the special moments and don't sweat the small stuff. Great advice, Mitch. I hope you have a good day, bro. Thank you so much for your help, man. You're like the only one helping me in my YouTube, so thank you, man.